Look at that! This is a shingleback. Wow, what an amazingly cool lizard this is. Let me see if I can pick it up. Careful. Oh, don't want to get bit. Don't want to get bit by this guy. Hang on. Look at that defensive display. Whoa, got a lunge. Oh, he is a feisty one. Oh, do you hear that? Hear that hiss? Got him. All right. Here, let's come on in close, guys. That is a really good look at their defensive display. I was hoping we would come across one of these lizards here in Western Australia, and there it is, our first reptile of the trip, the shingleback. The first thing you notice about this animal is that tongue sticking out, flaring its tongue out, saying, hey, I'm feisty and I will give you a tremendous bite if you get any closer. You can see the size of those mandibles, and it does have razor sharp teeth. Let's talk about its name. The shingleback gets its name because of its armored plating. Look at those scales. They are raised up and very thick, like an armored little tank. Here, Andrew, feel the back of that.
Whoa, he's super tough.
He's super tough. An extra tough lizard that utilizes its scales to ward off predators. Those armored scales would act like a plate, a barrier, to hopefully protect it long enough to scurry away. Now, some people would call this a shingleback, others would know it as a bobtail. It gets the name bobtail because of this little nubby tail on the back, which has a couple of purposes. The first purpose is it's a defense mechanism because it's a false head. So if there's a predator like a hawk or a snake that comes in and tries to eat this lizard, it might accidentally go for the wrong side because it looks a lot like its head. And that would be good for this lizard because it would give it a chance to get away. Now, another purpose for that bobtail is it's a fat store. Being out here in the desert, water is scarce and energy can be scarce. So certain times of the season, while this lizard can be hibernating, it relies on the fat stores in its tail to survive. Now, these lizards are a species of blue tongue skink, and while their tongue isn't as bright as their cousin, the eastern blue tongue, I think their armored appearance makes them the coolest of these spunky Australian lizards. I want to be very clear, I do not want to take a bite from this lizard. It has very strong jaws because it is an omnivore. It feasts on a diet of snails and beetles, so it requires strong mandibles to crush those shells up. And I don't want you to crush my finger, right? Because we're gonna be friends, because I'm gonna help you out too before the end of this video. These lizards can be found while road cruising out here in the outback. They are often victims of car strikes because they like to stay on the road to get warmth. They are ectothermic, so we're gonna help you cross the road, buddy, don't worry. But we're also gonna help you out with something else. Now, one of the things that we can do is to remove some of its parasites. You see that right there? Let's get a tight shot. These reptiles are known to be covered in ticks. So anytime we encounter an animal with visible parasites like leeches, barnacles, or ticks, we always do our best to try to remove them if possible. In this case, removing these pesky bloodsuckers will cause no pain to the lizard and will certainly help its chances for survival in this harsh desert environment. This is a little bit risky right here. Getting my fingers super close to those jaws. Got him. Oh no. There's more. Ugh. Hang on, buddy. We'll help you out here. Guys, there are so many ticks on this lizard. That one was in its left ear, and the ticks do like to go for the softer part, so ears and in between the scales. I'm gonna try this one out. Here we go. Yeah. Gotcha. There we go. And there is another tick. See? That's what friends do. We remove ticks from each other's ears. You would do the same for me, wouldn't you? Yeah. Now, this is not a tick that would burrow into a human, but they can actually get about 20 times this size by engorging themselves with the blood of these reptiles. I've actually found a tick on another shingleback before that was the size of a grape. Ugh. Disgusting, right? Ugh, we don't want ticks. I think I got the main ticks off of you. Oh no, you got another one deep in your ear. Got him. Got him. They are all stuffed in his ear. How did you get so many ticks inside your ear? Oh gosh, guys, there are so many ticks in this lizard's ear. Guys, you're gonna wanna get a shot of this, it's gross. Ugh, look at that. Dude, where have you been? All right, no more ticks. I think I got them all out of that ear. I'm sure that feels a lot better, huh, buddy? Now you can hear again. All right, the sun's coming back out. He's getting a little feisty. Let's see if we can get another look at that iconic defense display, that tongue splaying out to warn any predator off. All right, I'm gonna try to put him down carefully, not take a bite. Ready? You guys got your shot? 1, 2, 3. See that? See that defense display? Oh, he is fast. Yeah. Hey, we're still friends, don't worry.
He looks angry.
Oh man, they are feisty when they want to be. Oh, not messing around, are you, buddy? Ah, too close. Gosh, he bit down hard. Oh, guys, look at that bite. We were trying to get the thumbnail, and I was using my hat to shade, and he's totally bit my hat. Oh my gosh, it is strong. I don't think it's gonna let go. You would not want to take a bite from this lizard. Holy smokes, it is just bulldog grip. Let's see if I can just put it down and it'll let go. Give me my hat. Who do you think you are, Jake Paul? Got my hat? Can I have my hat back, sir? Please? Are you kidding me? Thank you. Thank you for my hat back. Okay. Wow. You would not want to take a bite from this lizard. It is a bulldog. That is a bite that you would not soon forget. So cool. Out here in Western Australia, and our first encounter with the shingleback. The thorny devil is like a living sculpture, and some rumors say it is so sharp it can actually draw blood when you try to catch it. So if we're lucky enough, we're gonna put those rumors to the test. Let's get searching. They live exclusively on a diet of ants. Because of that need, if you find an ant mound or an ant line, there's a good chance there's a thorny devil somewhere in the vicinity, so we can then create a perimeter and start really scanning the area. These are masters of camouflage in this environment, so you really need to narrow it down to a sweet spot. So sharp. Ah. This is definitely thorny devil habitat. Everything out here is spiky. Especially this plant right here. This is like little razor blade leaves. Gonna keep an eye out for that one as we search for this creature. Here we go. This is a good indication. You see that line in the sand right there? That's an ant track. You can actually see a few tiny, tiny ants making their way back to their nest. But this is great, guys. We've got the sandy environment. We found the food. Now it's time to find the devil itself. What I'm looking for now are either foot tracks or the outline. It has a very distinct contrast with the rest of the environment. The outline of the tail and the horns on the front. And that's what I'm gonna be scanning for along the ridges and along the bush lines. Luckily, the thorny devil is not very fast. You can see why you have to be such a specialized animal to call this your home. Humans would not do very well living out here. Oh, I see one. Got one. We got a devil. Oh, yes. Yes. We got one. Oh man. This is the coolest lizard on the planet, guys. Oh my gosh. I am so excited right now. I cannot believe we found a thorny devil. Look at how cool this little dragon is. This is one of the top targets out here. And unlike their cousins in America and Mexico, the horned lizards, these guys are actually super spiky. And you see it puffing up its body and pushing those spines out. That is one of its defense mechanisms. And I could tell you that if you were to grab onto this thorny devil without knowing that it was sharp, you would get a handful of spikes. Look at how cryptic the color patterning is. This animal is superior at camouflage in this environment, from the sand that's demonstrated in its arms to the foliage and the yellow leaf litter. This animal is perfectly designed for this habitat. You can see that I'm not really doing much to keep the animal here with us. They're very docile and slow moving. In fact, they use their tail as a balance to step forward. They're almost like a chameleon, and they'll do very cautious steps. So look at that, just in a matter of minutes from presenting this animal, it's already changed its color to a much more vibrant yellow on the back. And that's probably because the sun is really starting to come out today. And like most lizards, it is ectothermic. The more heat it absorbs in its body, the more energy it's going to have. And it certainly has earned its name, the Thorny Devil. It is extraordinarily sharp and spiny. And it is covered from the tip of its tail all the way to its fingers and sharp spikes. Andrew, stick your finger out there. Tell me what that's like.
Wow, it's like prickers.
It's literally as sharp as the thorns on a rose. Just because it has these defense mechanisms doesn't mean that this lizard doesn't have any predators. There are animals out here that would make a meal out of a thorny devil, including species of hawks and, of course, the predatory goannas, the giant monitors that live in this country. So that's where this animal will rely on its superior camouflage to blend into its environment, to not give its location away. It also has another unique defense mechanism. You see those two horns right at the neck? That is a false head. And in a defense situation, the thorny devil will tuck in its head, offer up that false head to any would-be predator so it has a chance to escape if attacked. So let's see if we can actually get it to do that. Offering that false head up. That is a great display. All right, let's pick it back up. Gosh, those spikes are sharp. Ah, oh, do you see him right there try to horn me? Ah, okay. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. I thought we had an agreement. We were gonna do this scene and I was gonna put you back, trying to show everybody how cool you are. There we go. If you ever wanna see one in person, you have to come here to one of its native ranges. Right now we are in Western Australia, but the range extends all the way to the center of the continent. But it lives in this specialized desert terrain, feeding on ants of a particular variety. Now, when I say feeding on ants, I should say feasting on ants. This little lizard has the ability to eat up to 3,000 ants a day. It will eat up to 1,000 ants in a single meal. And because of that, it actually is said that they are super intelligent. They have the ability to track through their environment to locate different colonies of ants, and they make sure that they don't overpredate any specific colony. They want to be able to come back to the food line to get another meal when they need it. These animals all have a very unique color pattern. You see underneath there? The patterning on the belly is like an individualized fingerprint for these lizards. So scientists will actually take photographs of the underside of a thorny devil so they can study the populations in any given area. And this one is super cool. It's very reticulated, almost like tiger stripes. Ah, so sharp. Ah, hang on. Ah, in addition to being super spiky, it has another very unique mechanism that has developed for life out here in the desert, and that's the ability to drink using its feet. Now, I've heard that if you actually pour water out and place a thorny devil in a small puddle, you can witness this happening. So we are going to try to demonstrate that for you right now. I've got a little water here. All right, let's see. Look at that. See all that moisture? Definitely have water coming up the back. I can see it on the neck. It's probably hydrating its eyes. And if we stay here long enough, it would actually be able to siphon some of that water into its mouth. But that is so cool. So those scales are adapted to be able to suck up moisture from the ground to keep this lizard hydrated. It's hard to believe, even holding it here in my hand, seeing it move, seeing it look at me, I'm almost in disbelief that this is even a real living thing. And for those of you who've been watching to see if the thorny devil is indeed sharp enough to draw blood, well, here you go. I mean, it is spiky. It's like holding the thorns of a rose. So I'm gonna do this delicately. Ready? Ah, you're spining me. It's wriggling around and it's so spiky, but I think the verdict is in. I do not think the thorny devil is sharp enough to draw blood, even though, he's spiky. Definitely does not feel good when it tenses up those spines. Ow. From its defense mechanisms and the spines and the false head to even the way that it drinks. How cool was it to come across the real dragon of the outback, the thorny devil. Right there, that's an echidna. Look at that. Ho-ho! Yes! That is what we have been looking for all morning long. That is Australia's spikiest creature, the echidna. And it is, wow, that is sharp. Okay, the echidna from the top is a tank riddled with spikes and a super tough skin. But underneath the echidna is a soft belly. And I'm gonna try to work my hand underneath this animal so I can present it to you. This is probably going to be a challenge. Let's see if I get my hand underneath. Ready? Come here, buddy. It's okay. And he's just wriggling in there. Oh, he's spiky. He's getting me. Now, unlike a porcupine, their spines can't release, but they are super sharp nonetheless. Ow. Okay, he's really wedged in there, guys. This is gonna be tough. Yeah, I'm getting nailed. All right, I'm gonna have to use some gloves here. There's no way I'm gonna be able to pry out this echidna. It is basically puffing up its body, using its spikes to wedge itself into this stump of the tree. All right, here we go. Luckily, I always carry a good pair of gloves with me on every adventure. There we go. I wanna get to the underside of the echidna that is much softer, and that should allow me to hold it for the scene. But I'm gonna have to do this really carefully. I'm trying to like work under all of the different spines. There we go. Okay, now these spines are nothing more than modified hairs, so this isn't hurting the echidna at all. It's only hurting me. Oh, you're sharp. Ow! Poked right through the glove. Okay, I've got the underside. Got the other side, this is good. Okay, I think I feel his foot. Ow! Oh gosh, you were really, getting spined so bad. Okay, all right, I'm underneath him. This is good. The underbelly is so much easier to contend with. All right, got him. I've got the echidna. We got one, guys. That is the echidna. Hello! All right, let's go this way. I see an opening over here, this will be perfect. So I think for the echidna to be most comfortable, it's gonna mean a little discomfort for me. I'm gonna attempt to take my gloves off to do this scene, not only in hopes that the echidna will be more comfortable and will show us that beak, but also as to show everyone why you should never pick up an echidna. Oh boy. Hello. This animal likes to hide by wedging against the nearest object. In this case, it's my foot. Gotta get to the soft belly part. Oh, so sharp. Come here. Every time I try to pick him up, his spikes break under the skin of my fingernails. Come on, Knuckles. Anybody who is a fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog video game definitely knows Knuckles the Echidna. And you are tough as nails, Knuckles. Yeah. Hey, buddy, I'm gonna put you on my knee, if that's okay. It's going through my pants. Knuckles! Oh my gosh, it's so sharp. Okay, hi. You are the spikiest creature I have ever held with my bare hands. Oh my goodness. Okay. This animal from the top side is almost bulletproof from any predator. Not only does it have these sharp spines, but the top hide is very tough. Now, on the underside of the echidna, on the underside of the echidna, there's very soft underbelly along with its face. Hopefully, this echidna will get comfortable enough with me today to show its little face because it is super adorable. I'm trying to make it as comfortable as I can. As discomforting as it is for me, I want to show you that adorable little beak, the face of the echidna. Come on, buddy. I'm just gonna hold it here and try to be silent. Try to be silent! Oh my gosh. It's poking his nose at me. Come on, come out, say hi. Oh, I think we're gonna have an appearance of the echidna beak. Hi. Hello. Come say hi. Oh, I can see the eyeball. Come say hi. No, that's a no. Door slammed. There we go. Give it a shot. Show us your cute little mug. Try to be quiet. Fight through the pain. Because I want you to see the face of the echidna. Come out and show us. Show us the face. Here he comes. Can you see it?
Oh, there's a snail.
Guys, get the shot. Hi. How are you? I'm not doing good. I hope you're doing well, though. All right, guys. That is the beak of the echidna. And it has been very painful to get on camera. You little spike ball. Okay. So you can see the boogery nose there. These animals just recently were discovered to be able to regulate their body heat by blowing snot bubbles on their nose. Oh man. Okay. Just gotta work through the pain a little bit. So an echidna feasts on a diet made up completely of ants and termites. In fact, this animal also has some of the best hearing of any animal in Australia, and it's so sophisticated, they can actually hear the termites and the ants crawling underground, which is why we have to be so quiet. It's so sharp. It is so sharp. And now, compared to the hedgehog, an echidna weighs a lot more. I would say this echidna is in excess of 10 pounds. And just the weight alone, makes it super sharp, and its spines. Its spines are so sharp, guys. Okay. Now, if you get a shot of that foot, you'll notice that it's actually backwards. That is a very unusual trait. A lot of times when people are tracking echidnas, they will actually follow them the opposite direction because of the fact that those hind feet are flipped in the opposite direction. These animals have long claws on the back of their feet that are primed for digging, and the echidna has the ability to dig in. And a lot of times when you see these in the environment, they are literally just a ball of spikes. In fact, the only predator that really targets the echidna here in Australia is the feral invasive fox. They'll actually pee on the back of these animals and get them to flip over to expose that soft underbelly. From the top, the echidna is almost bulletproof. From underneath, they're a little teddy bear. And that's why it curls up into a ball, just like this. All right. Look at that face. Ow, you hurt me. You hurt me so. Okay, put him down. Definitely drew some blood. That is like wildlife acupuncture. I do not recommend it. It's time to put our echidna back where we found it. And honestly, I'm not sure who's happier about this, me or the echidna. My hands are on fire right now. Ouch. With the echidna safely back in its tree and my hands throbbing in pain, it's now time to track down one of the rarest animals on the planet, the numbat, one of the last living relatives of the now extinct Tasmanian tiger. Most of the remaining numbats in the world live in Dryandra National Park, but Dryandra is completely surrounded by farmland, trapping the numbats inside. This forest is really the last place we can find them. Spotting one is going to be really challenging because they blend into the landscape perfectly. Luckily, just like the echidna, numbats feed on termites, so we know we're on the right trail. We searched the forest really hard for over 6 hours without a sign of anything. It was a ghost town, but just when I was thinking about giving up for the day, I noticed something furry running through the bushes. Oh my gosh, that's him. Oh my God. There he is. Found one. I got him. I'm filming a numbat. He's looking right at me. I can't believe it. Wow. This is one of the last numbats on the planet. Numbats are a critically endangered species with less than 1,000 left in the wild. Places like Dryandra National Park in Australia are so important in protecting species like this from going extinct. And that's why it's important that this forest remains standing. This has to be one of the rarest animals I've ever filmed. What's he doing now? What's he doing? No. Is he trying to crawl inside? No way. Never gonna fit. Ha! Look at his little legs go. He can barely fit. Is he gonna make it? Oh! And there he goes. The creature that we're looking for tonight is probably one of the most bizarre animals that can be found in Australia, and we have featured some interesting things over the years on Brave Wilderness, but I can promise you, nothing compares to the turtle frog. We needed rain to find this frog, and the rains have come. You are not going to miss this. Finding a turtle frog is almost impossible because you have to be in the small remote desert they live in Western Australia while it's raining. And this only happens a few times a year. Yes! Yes! Next to no footage exists of this species. If we find one, this will be the very first high quality footage ever seen. Oh, stop the car, I see something on the road. First animal of the night, a really cool lizard. Oh my gosh, it's got a huge tick on him though. I'm gonna try to pull this off. Look at that, got a tick.
Oh my gosh.
You see that? That is a big tick. And that is a really cool lizard. Very good sign for our search tonight. We're not exactly looking for shinglebacks, but this one was crossing the road, so we wanted to move him out of the way. You're welcome. All right, let's let you go off the road so you can continue on your way, and we'll continue on ours. This rain has the animals on the move. Like all amphibians, turtle frogs need moisture to survive and to breed. That is why they come up to the surface after it rains. Without this rain, the frogs will remain buried beneath the ground and impossible to find. To make matters worse, turtle frogs only come to the surface at night. We're going to have to look and listen closely to even have a small chance at spotting one. All my life, I've been a frog nerd. And I've been able to track down iconic species like the red-eyed tree frogs and poison dart frogs of Central America. And I've also gotten hands-on with all different kinds of toads, from giants, oh, wow, to the most colorful, got it, like this extremely rare harlequin toad. However, the turtle frog has always been my grail animal, and tonight is the first time in my career I'll have a shot at catching one. But if we're going to do that, I'll have to rely on all my years of experience and animal catching tricks to track one down. Perfect habitat for the turtle frog. See that right there? That's sand substrate. Turtle frog, it burrows down up to 3 feet below the surface, so it really needs this sand to be able to do that. Okay, let's keep looking. We're definitely on the trail now. It's really a miracle in itself that we got prime turtle frog conditions tonight. Like seriously, all week long the forecast called for clear skies and no rain, but tonight, out of nowhere, the rain rolled in, and I have to say, it's making this adventure feel like destiny. Oh, guys, I got something. All right, so what you're looking at there is a spiny tail gecko, named for the spines on the tail, which are actually just modified scales, and they're soft, they're not sharp at all. Now these geckos have a pretty unique defense mechanism where they're able to actually secrete a chemical mixture from their tails. They like whip it at the predators trying to eat them, and it doesn't taste very good. The eyes of a gecko are probably some of the coolest eyes on the planet. They actually don't have eyelids, so they have to lick their eyeballs to keep them moist. Can you imagine that, licking your own eyeball? Sure glad we have eyelids. Love these geckos. Okay, we're gonna let this gecko go back in the bush and keep looking. Well, that's a good sign. We're continuing to see new creatures. Guys, I got one. Look at this frog. Holy cow, that is cool. Wow. We found our first amphibian of the night. It's not the frog we're after, but that is a great sign. That means that we're getting enough rain for the amphibians out here to come out of the soil. This is the western spotted frog, and just like turtle frogs, they only come out just after a rainstorm. This is not the frog we're after, but it's a good start. Let's let this one go. Keep searching. Perfect conditions. We just gotta keep looking. Got the rain, we're in the right spot. We've already seen one species of frog. This is like the sweet spot. This is what we need. Got everything except the turtle frog itself. After hours of searching, we weren't seeing any signs of turtle frogs. Luckily, my experience has taught me sometimes the best way to find the frog you're looking for is with your ears. Did you guys hear that? Shh, shh, shh. I think I heard one. Yep. Did you guys hear that? On one more. Let's see if we can hear it one more time. If we hear it again, we'll try to find it. I think that's one, guys. Let's try to canvas this area in front of us here. Stop calling. We must be right next to him. Got him. Got a turtle frog. Holy mother. Oh my God. Look, there he is. There it is. I cannot believe we found the frog. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Hello. Come here, buddy. Oh my gosh. We have come so far to find this species. There is the turtle frog. Yeah, baby! Woo! What are the freaking odds? Guys. Oh my gosh! I cannot believe we got one. Oh. Hello. Have you ever seen anything like that in your life? This is one of the coolest creatures I have ever laid my eyes on. Let's just appreciate this super unique creature. What you're looking at is some of the first HD footage ever recorded of a turtle frog. I mean, this species is so rare, there's very little information to find about them. But here's what we do know about this bizarre little frog. Let's start with the name, turtle frog. Named for its appearance, the most unusual frog I have ever seen, but look at its head. That dome-shaped head with the black beady little eyes, and then the circular body. Looks like a turtle without a shell. This is one of the most unique looking frogs you will ever see. It looks like something out of Star Wars, Jabba the Hutt's relative. Some people say it looks like a little wad of chewing gum, and it certainly looked like that when we first saw it. I have wanted to film. I have wanted to find one of these frogs for my entire career. This is a big, big moment for me. If you can't sense my excitement after this, this is about as big as it gets for a frog nerd like me. Hi, buddy. Look at that pudge. Are you kidding me? Has to be one of the most unique looking frogs, but probably the cutest frogs as well. Super pudgy, super soft. Feels like a water balloon almost, and when it's walking across my hand, you can really tell how much liquid is in the frog. It's like a deflated water balloon, but it is a very delicate frog, but it's somewhat stout. Got a lot of power in those legs. I can feel it when it's crawling across my hand. It uses its stocky arms and legs to burrow into the soil. It really is incredible how something so small and soft can dig over 3 feet underground. And actually here, let me get out. I'm gonna take my pack off and get out a little bit of water because I don't want to dry out the frog. One of the things you always want to make sure you do when handling any amphibian is make sure you don't dry them out, and this water will help. Oh, hey, came to life there. Hey buddy, it's all right. Oh my goodness. Endemic to Western Australia. It can only be found here, but that's not where the oddities end. In fact, the oddities begin with this species when it's born. It's one of the few species of frogs on the planet that does not have a tadpole stage. This frog begins its life with a full set of hands and legs. What's also unique about this species is that they have one of the largest eggs of all frogs in Australia. In fact, 5 centimeters is as big as they grow, and this frog is approaching maximum length. Now, there's a certain period of year where at the tail end of it that it's breeding and will actually call. That's how we were able to find this frog. And it was definitely a team effort. We've got Max with us here from Australia Wildlife Encounters. Max and I were slowly honing in on this little frog, and then I crouched down and there it was, just like you saw it right there underneath the bush, looking right back at us with those beady little eyes. And it was so unlikely for us to find this frog, guys. The rains were not supposed to come, and sure enough, they appear today, almost like out of thin air. A front came in, provided enough moisture for us to have a chance to put this frog in front of the cameras, and I am so excited you guys get to see it. Now, we think this is a male because of the way it was calling, and when they're mating, they have an extended honeymoon. Once a turtle frog locates its mate, they will both burrow together for months before actually breeding and depositing their eggs. This is a very unique species, guys. There's not a ton of information and very few studies of this frog. So when it comes to filming animal oddities, it doesn't really get any better than this. And I am just over the moon right now that we were able to come out here, our first time in Western Australia, our first time in turtle frog territory, against the odds, and sure enough, we were able to find one. Oh man, I am so excited we got to show you guys the turtle frog. What a cool frog this is! Ooh, big earthworm.
Whoa! That's a monster.
Yeah. Hefty. It is not squishy at all. It is really like super tough. Here, Andrew, feel that.
Whoa!
It's getting slimy.
Whoa!
Isn't that crazy?
Super slimy. Oh no!
This worm just took up. Oh, look at this grub. Ugh, even better. Check out that bad boy. Oh yeah.
Oh!
Oh gosh. Thanks, buddy. All right. I think we're done with this grub.
This was one gross log.
Yeah. Let's keep going. I know the trilobite beetle is out here. We've just got to find it. If you're ever out flipping in any environment, whether it's rocks, logs, leaves, whatever it might be, always be considerate and try to replace the environment just how you found it. Bunch of stuff there, major roots. Oh my goodness. Guys, look at the size of that millipede. Hang on, let me see if I can get it. Now some of these can emit a really nasty odor, so I don't want to spook it. Let me see if I can get it crawling on my hand. Look at the length of that millipede. Probably approaching 5 inches in length. And millipedes, of course, get their name because of all those legs. Millipede means 1,000 feet. Borneo is actually home to the longest millipede in the world. Now, I don't need to worry about this millipede biting me. The only thing you really need to worry about when it comes to millipedes are their toxicity. Some of them are poisonous. but they do feel really strange. Feeling all those little legs grip onto my fingers and crawl across. Andrew, stick your hand out real quick. I wanna show you what this is like. Let's put it on your finger. Don't worry, it won't bite. There you go. What's that like?
Whoa, that's crazy feeling.
They have amazing grip. And they use that grip to climb up and over logs and terrain out here in the rainforest. Well, that's a good start to our adventures here in Borneo. Let's go find something truly unique. Come on. All right, so far, so weird. We're finding all kinds of cool stuff. This environment is perfect for a trilobite beetle. They love tropical forests just like this, with tall tree canopies that allow very little light to reach the ground. Ow, nothing. No trilobite beetles yet. I really thought we'd see one by now. Covering a ton of ground. Probably hiked at least 4 miles already. Oh man, look at this snag. Oh, here we go. Another kind of millipede. This one's even cooler than the last one. What you're looking at is an armored millipede. They're called armored millipedes because you can see the segments of its body have these pronounced ridges, making it look like body armor. This is something that you could imagine seeing in the time of the dinosaurs. It looks like a living fossil. And here's something really cool about these armored millipedes. Let me show you. If there's ever a situation where this millipede feels threatened, look at what it'll do. It rolls itself into a tight little ball, and you can see how all those armored plates that are really rigid can protect the soft underbelly. Starting to must. Smell that. Actually, it doesn't smell that bad.
Whoa, it smells sweet.
Right? Like cherries. I'm not kidding, guys. This millipede smells like those red cherries that come in the syrup. What are they? Maraschino?
Maraschino cherries.
Maraschino cherries.
That's exactly what it smells like.
I can't believe that. I expected it to smell like musty and foul, but it actually smells kind of good. If anybody knows, tell us in the comments why this millipede is putting off an odor that makes it smell like cherries. So weird, but so cool at the same time. All right, guys, well, I would say this adventure is heating up. Every creature we're finding is getting more and more bizarre. Let's put this armored millipede back and keep heading down trail. Sometimes when you're flipping, you forget to just look. So I try to always make a rule of like 3 flips, observe. Oh, wow. Got a bit of a break in the canopy here. A lot of light. Oh, look at that hole. Bet something lives in there. Whoa, look at this log snag. Oh! Guys, I got something right there. Here, can you throw this in my backpack real quick? I'm gonna need both hands. Put your cameras right there. We got a trilobite beetle. Hang on. Nobody move. Got it. Got it. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. We got one. Huh. Yes. Dude.
Oh.
Trilobite beetle, baby. Woo! Oh man, I am pumped. If you guys are wondering, and if you can't tell, this never gets old. Finding a new creature for the first time, this is why I do what I do. This is what I love about making videos on Brave Wilderness, discovering creatures like the trilobite beetle. Wow, I feel like a little kid again, guys. Okay, first of all, it is a beetle. I know it looks a lot like the millipedes that we found earlier on this adventure, but it is not a millipede. And it gets its name because it looks like a trilobite, which of course trilobites have been extinct for hundreds of millions of years, and we only know them by their fossil remains at this point. Now, I've actually dug up trilobite fossils in Utah before that were over 500 million years old, and I have to say, those fossils really do look like the trilobite beetle that you see here today, especially those upper body segments. This is nearly a living version of an animal that looks like something super prehistoric. Right away, first glance, you're thinking millipede. Then you see how it slinks its body along, and you're like, man, is that some kind of worm? Is that some kind of larva? It kind of looks like a hellgrammite like we've seen along the streams in North America, but it's definitely not. And then you go to the tip of the head there and you see that tiny little head with its beady little eyes and its two little antennas sticking out. Look at its abdomen, guys. It almost moves around like a little inchworm. It has like a little foot at the back of its tail and just beep, inches along. As it's crawling around, of course, I feel the little tiny legs making contact with my skin, but I'm also getting this like wet sensation. And I've noticed, if I flip it upside down, that little foot. Yeah, that little pad right there, it's wet. I can feel it slinking across. And I don't know if it's like laying down a track of pheromone or what, but it's cold and it's moist and it's weird. It's very weird. And they're very rigid. It's got a cool feel. Andrew, you gotta try it.
Whoa.
See what you think.
Whoa, it's like she has a suit of armor on.
Totally, and it is armored. That is a defense mechanism because look at how slow she moves. This is not a fast creature, so it's gonna rely upon that armor to ward off predators. Also, the aposematic coloration. I'm gonna guess that this insect has a pretty foul taste. And what's even weirder than its appearance is how different it is from its male counterpart. Let's take a look at the male version of this trilobite beetle right here. What? Are you kidding me? And here's the thing, guys. Scientists were puzzled by this for over 200 years. When this creature was first discovered, they could not figure out what the male of the trilobite beetle looked like. In fact, it wasn't until the 1980s that a scientist actually followed around one trilobite beetle for days and days and days, and it saw them mate. That was the only way scientists were able to find out the male version of this species, because the female is just so unique. And not anything against the male version of this insect. Cool looking beetle, right? But nothing is gonna top the cool factor of this female trilobite beetle. And this is probably gonna go down as one of the strangest creatures I will ever get to present to you on Brave Wilderness, the trilobite beetle. I cannot believe we are standing right in front of this many deep sea giant isopod. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 giant isopod in the tank in front of us to learn all about in today's video. Whoa, this is incredible. I cannot believe we're standing in front of these creatures. There are about 20 variety of them that live in the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Oceans, very, very deep at the bottom. We're talking anywhere from 700 to 7,000 feet. Wow, that is deep. And about half of the isopods on planet Earth live in the ocean and half of them live on land. Although these are the largest isopods that you can find, the ones that live in your backyard are those small little pill bugs. The roly-poly is related directly to the giant isopod. Now, even though they look like it, these isopods are not insects. They're not bugs. They are actually more closely related to crabs and lobsters. And oh boy, they are super weird looking, I will admit, but man, are they cool. If you were to come visit this aquarium, anyone is allowed to touch the deep sea isopods. This is a touch tank. In fact, there are ports all around the top here, and yep, that water is cold. Definitely kept below 50 degrees at all times, but anyone can come up and pet the giant isopods. But today we are getting extra special permission to remove the top of the aquarium and get really hands-on, because I want to get the giant isopod as close to the cameras as possible. Because these animals live in the deepest parts of the ocean, they need to keep their aquarium here as cold as possible. So this water is kept around 50 degrees Fahrenheit at all times to mimic the deepest parts of the ocean. All right, here goes nothing. Time to get hands-on with the giant isopod. Oh, this is creepy. Here we go. Whoa. Oh man. Wow. Look at that. Alien. That is unbelievable. Look at that face. A face only a mother could love. I think you're cool though. All right. Why is the giant isopod so giant? I mean, its cousin, the roly-poly, is probably 1,000th of its size. Well, the most well-accepted theory is deep sea gigantism, which is found in a variety of animals, most notably in the squid species. Of course, you probably heard of the giant squid or the colossal squid that are huge. Same goes with the giant isopod, much, much larger than any of its terrestrial or shallower relatives. Now, there are around 20 species of large isopods that live in the deep sea, but this one is the biggest. And there are two size ranges. There's giants and super giants. A giant isopod will be anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, and a super giant, like this one, can be up to 2 feet in length. And I would say the one in front of us here is approaching maximum size. Look at that creature. This is too cool. Now, the exoskeleton is really rigid, a lot like a lobster or a crab. I can really feel the rigidity of those segments. The underside is very soft. I can actually press in on the belly of the beast. That is wild. I did not expect a giant isopod to have softer parts like that. And on the underside here, we have the pleopods, which can also be found on animals like lobsters. And these are the swimming appendages of this animal. Yes, believe it or not, although this looks like an insect that can only crawl around, the giant isopod is an excellent swimmer. And what's also really cool about the pleopods is these are the appendages that allow the animal to breathe. There's actually a gas exchange that occurs in those parts of the animal. The legs feel super creepy, but not that menacing. Now, we'll move up from the legs and we want to take a closer look at that head. So you'll notice the giant isopod has pretty big eyes. In fact, their eyes are specially developed for very dark environments. When you get below 1,000 feet in the ocean, you enter what's called the midnight zone, where almost no light can travel. So for their entire lives, these animals live in almost complete darkness. They have pretty poor eyesight. They're not very responsive to light changes at all, and they rely most of their lives on navigating around and understanding their environment through these 4 antenna appendages here. There's 2 sets of antenna. The small ones at the top are chemical sensing. So this is what's going to help them find their food. It's going to help them understand what other animals or organic things are around them in the environment. And then you have the feelers, the 2 longer antennae underneath. And these 2 antennae are used to feel their way around their environment, which is completely dark. I'm having a fairly hard time hanging on to it. It's definitely trying to get back down to the bottom of the tank. Its legs are equipped with these grappling hooks. It's almost like a claw, like a lobster claw. In fact, yeah, look at that. It's got my finger in its front claws there, and they can actually squeeze down and can grapple on. And what they use those claws for are breaking apart their prey and forcing the food to the mouth. Yes, it looks strange, and I can tell you its diet is even stranger. These are carnivorous creatures of the deep sea, and they will eat just about anything that they can get their mouths on. I'm talking deceased fish, I'm talking whales. Researchers have even fed alligators to these animals to see if they would eat something that's not native to their environment. And yes, they absolutely will. And because of their appetite for all things deceased, you're probably asking yourself, what would happen if a human ended up down there at the bottom of the sea? Yes, as morbid as it sounds, if a human ends up in their environment, it's on the menu too. Now I want to find something out. You know, obviously, I've been keeping my fingers and hands away from those mouth parts all video long, but now it's time to find out, does the isopod have a taste for human flesh? Should we find out? Let's give it a quick try. You guys ready for this? That water is cold, and I know those mouth parts, those 4 sets of jaws, are extraordinarily sharp. Ooh, this is creepy. So I'm gonna put the mouth right on my arm and see what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You see it? I can feel it poking around. It's trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, its claws are digging in. That water, it's so cold. Nothing. Just wants to hang out. And I wanted to show you that for a reason, because although these creatures can look menacing, they are absolutely gentle giants, and they would never bite a human being in this circumstance. There's no need to fear this animal. If you ever come out to this aquarium, I highly recommend that you check out the giant isopod touch tank, because getting hands-on or even having the chance to touch an animal from the abyss like this is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All right, well, my hands are freezing. I'm gonna put our isopod friend here back at the bottom of the tank. I hope everybody at home enjoyed this look at our first ever deep sea creature.
Let's go diving. Diver heading down. Today we are searching for the mysterious Lembeh Sea Dragon, easily the smallest dragon on planet Earth. This creature is so hard to find that it remained undetected until 2006 when it was first discovered. Information about it is still extremely limited, as they are notoriously difficult to find due to their size and the fact that they are fast swimmers. Our goals for today are to locate one, capture it on video, and of course observe it and learn more about the behaviors of this bizarre animal. We are diving in a very unique place in the world called the Lembeh Strait, which is right in the middle of the Coral Triangle of Indonesia. The type of dive we are on is called a MUCK dive. This is because we will need to search through loose sediment on the seafloor, or the muck, which is the correct environment to find the Lembeh Sea Dragon, as they are often sighted around the slime and algae that they resemble. So we'll start looking by scanning the seafloor for areas that have good hiding spots for the sea dragons to blend in. Our air supply is limited to 50 minutes. Let's get searching. Only found in Lembeh, this sea dragon is almost impossible to spot with the naked eye. So I brought with me a specialty lens for my camera that can magnify areas that we want to inspect closely. And there you have it, first spot of the day. That is a ghost pipefish, which are related to the Lembeh Sea Dragon. These fish are also masters of camouflage, but since the creature we are searching for is so small, this one stood right out while scanning with our camera. It appears to be a delicate ghost pipefish, and the way I can tell that is by those weedy looking appendages underneath its snout and the lack of hair on the rest of its body. What a cool creature. You can almost see right through it, but look at all those vivid colorations, including those super vibrant eyes. Okay, let's keep searching. We have about 60% of the tank left. So far, no signs of the Lembeh Sea Dragon, but seeing that ghost pipefish tells me we're on the right track. We're down here today with some local divers that know this area well and have seen the Lembeh Sea Dragon before. These rocky outcrops are perfect environments for them. They like to tuck into the crevices, and they also have the right kind of algae that they blend into. Okay, I'm getting a signal. There's something over there. This could be it. Alright, this is the right kind of algae. Let's scan this area well with our camera, and hopefully we can find one. I'm also going to need to use some attachments to steady the camera. We are so zoomed in that we have to keep the rig absolutely still. This is the main reason you've likely never seen this animal before. Finding them is a challenge. Filming them is a whole different ballgame that requires specialty equipment. Luckily, today we have the correct setup. Oh my goodness, there it is, the Lembeh Sea Dragon. What a majestic and tiny little creature. Let's try to adjust the camera to get a good look at its face. As you can see, it's moving relatively fast for its size. I'm going to have to try to track it until it stops again. This one seems to be on its own, but from what I've read, they usually live in pairs, sometimes up to 10 pairs in one area. So there's a good chance there's more close by. There we go. Now we're still. Despite having the name dragon, these are not that closely related to the Australian sea dragons that people are more familiar with. They are actually more closely related to the pipefish and seahorses that live in this area. So technically, these sea dragons are actually what's known as a pipe dragon. Wow, check that out. Those tiny bright red appendages are really interesting. They almost look like venomous spines or stingers. But I'm certain they can't do me any harm. Those are likely just for appearance to ward off predators. Oh nice, check that out, there's another one. They almost look exactly the same, but this one might be a touch bigger. It's really hard to show the scale on camera, but I cannot stress enough just how tiny this dragon really is. It's also extremely thin. It's only about 1/8 of an inch wide and just under 1 inch in length. It's almost the size of an algae-like eyelash, and it's super hard to keep the camera focused on it, since every small shift I make moves it out of view. Okay, it's moving again. It's so cool how it just drifts through the water. And it uses its fins, you can see right there on the back, to swim right along. But it really looks like a piece of algae. And then when it gets close enough, it can use its long tail to grab on and anchor to the next object. I've actually heard stories of people not realizing they've seen one until they review their photos after the dive, when they thought they were filming other animals only to be photobombed by the Lembeh Sea Dragon. But I have to say, as far as a photobomb goes, the Lembeh Sea Dragon is one I would welcome any day of the week. And there it goes. What an incredible creature and rare opportunity to see the Lembeh Sea Dragon of Indonesia.
The acid-spraying violin beetle in an effort to see if it's truly as dangerous as the local legends say. Let's get searching. Not only are they super unique looking, they are enormous and they possess a very dangerous defense mechanism. The violin beetle has the power to secrete and spray acid, which can make you go blind. And we're going to catch one. We just started our search here and we've already come across something really crazy looking. Check this out. Hold on tight if you have arachnophobia. That is a huge golden orb weaver. Wow, that is a giant one. Walk onto my hand. Oh boy.
Whoa!
Oh boy.
Watch out, Mark. He's on your back.
That's nerve-wracking. Where is he now?
He's in the back.
Right on your backpack. Right on the middle of your backpack. Yep, gently.
Careful. He's coming back up.
Yep, he's climbing back up now.
Okay. Oh, here it is, here it is. Whoa! Look at the size of that spider, guys. Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Now, is he dangerous at all?
These spiders possess a really painful bite. Luckily for me though, it takes a lot to agitate them enough to get a chomp. So if I just handle it carefully, I'll be just fine. Wow, what a spider. Are you kidding me? Look at the size. This is the biggest golden orb weaver spider I've ever seen. Well, this is a really good sign that we're on the right track. Up next, hopefully we find that giant insect that we're after. Let's put this spider back, keep moving up the stream. Ugh. These violin beetles are really good at hiding. Prefers darkness, tight crevices near water. So we are in the perfect spot to start our search. Crevices of rocks, fallen trees, and in between sheets of fungus, actually. All right, hey, Andrew, I'm gonna try to flip this log, see what's underneath this.
Do you have a good feeling about this spot? Well, big ant nest, huge ant nest.
Where?
Up top, right by your hand. Watch out.
Got me. Oh, first sting in Thailand. Got nailed by some kind of fire ant. Yeah, they definitely sting. Look at that, jeez. Lit me up. All right, guys hear that? Oh, monkey. Guys, bring your cameras over here.
Oh, cool.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
The monkey is hanging out. You guys hear that? Monkeys in the background making an alarm call, so we do have to keep our wits about us.
Oh, cool.
This jungle is home to leopards, bears, and even on occasion a tiger. Water, like the stream, is rare, and during the dry season, it's drawing in some things that can be super hazardous to myself and the crew. We want to find big overhangs. These violin beetles are enormous. So they're gonna prefer much larger spaces than say like a little crevice like this rock here. Let's go into this tree. Not seeing enough fungus. Do you wanna see fungus, smell fungus. It should be damp. That is where these insects spend almost the majority of their lives, except for their larval stage, where they'll actually live in the water. Oh, right there. Look at that. Hey guys, I got a crab.
Crab?
Cool. These are little forest crabs out here. And I bet they can pinch pretty good. Yeah, they can pinch pretty good. Yep. Ow. Ow, gosh, it got me the worst spot. That's, come on, buddy. Let go of me, if I just, come on. Yes. All right, I'm gonna hold it just like this. Didn't draw any blood, but man, that pinched really good. These crabs are all up and down the stream bed. Kind of looks like a shore crab that you'd find in a tide pool. Not used to seeing crabs near a stream. There are a lot of them out here. Look at that. See all that purple underneath its legs? Let's put this crab back. See you, buddy. Finding more wildlife, this is a good sign. I feel like we're honing in on those violin beetles. See this fungus? This is exactly what we're looking for. These kind of logs with fungus growing on them are the perfect habitat for the violin beetle. This is exactly what they like.
See anything?
No. The rest of the team found something. We're on our way. Oh, wow. A red-tailed racer. All right, you guys rolling? We're rolling. Okay. Looks like it's gonna stay put if I just... Oh, turn back on. It's okay, it's okay. They're non-venomous, but they are biting. Stay back. See if I can just get it out of this tree. Oh man. See him biting me? All right, can my snake hook there? Got it. See if we can get him to calm down. All right, there we go. That was intense. Definitely turned around and struck him a few times. Luckily, this is a non-venomous species of snake. It looks almost like a green mamba in a way. So there's like a part of my brain that's like, don't get bit by the snake. See that? See it striking? Look how it's flattening out its neck. The more calm I am, the more calm the snake will be. Pretty rare to come across one of these racers because typically they're found much higher up in the canopies, hunting for anything that it can fit in its mouth. We're talking lizards, frogs, and even birds. I just had to take this opportunity to present this beautiful snake up close like this. We've got an audience of monkeys right overhead that are probably looking at me like I'm crazy. And all the things I've seen in Thailand so far, this is by far the coolest find. We're getting close. I can feel it. This is exactly the environment we need to search. See this underhang? I'm gonna get my flashlight out and I'm gonna get up under there. I have a feeling this is the perfect spot to find what we're looking for today.
You see something, Mark?
Oh my goodness. Guys, I got him.
You can see him?
Oh yeah, man, they are weird. Oh my goodness. There's about 8 of them. And
Did you say 8 of them?
there's about 8 of them. They're all hugged up underneath this stump or this log here. And I feel like if I can just get my jar on top of them, I'm gonna have a good chance at getting it into an area where we can film it. Okay, so I'm gonna use this. Wish me luck, guys. Here we go. That's not working.
Are they moving around in there?
Yeah, they're fast. They're really fast. This is a lot more challenging than I thought. Oh. You guys smell that? Smell that jar. That's the smell of the acid they spray. That is pungent. Okay, I'm gonna need to use my sunglasses. If I get sprayed in the eye, this is one of the real dangers of this animal is if you get it in your eyes, the locals down here say that you can go blind. So I'm just gonna wear these sunglasses. I'm just gonna have to grab one. Got one right here. Just wanna try to get the catch. Oh man, this is gonna be gnarly. Got one. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Woo! All right, we got it, guys. Woo, yeah. And it was already secreting that defense mechanism. All right, let's get into an area where we can get this violin bug in a little bit better light so you can see why this is one of the strangest insects in the entire world. All right, it's time to get a closer look at the violin beetle of Thailand. Luckily, there's more where this came from, but I want to try to be gentle. There we go. Look at that.
Whoa.
Are you kidding me? Have you ever in your life seen anything like that? I mean, you could clearly see why it gets its name, the violin beetle, shaped like a violin. And those wings on the sides of the body there are somewhat translucent, giving it this lacquer-like appearance. So I would say it's accurately described. Now, they do come in a couple different color varieties. This one is the toffee brown color. Trying to handle it with the utmost care. They have a very potent defense mechanism where they can actually secrete and even spray butyric acid. I can smell it. Oh, it's definitely all inside the jar. It almost reminds me of like smelling salts. It's very pungent, like makes your eyes water. You can imagine if you were sprayed with a mouthful or an eyeful of that, you'd immediately turn the other direction and run away. Now you may be asking yourself, looking at the size of this insect, Mark, is that as big as it grows? Actually, no. They can get up to double this size. Now, getting a closer look. Oh, whoa.
Now, do you know where they spray their acid from?
They secrete the acid from the abdomen. And my guess is from underneath. I'm actually gonna try to pin the beetle so we can see the underside and maybe we can see it spray. See that abdomen right there? So it likely secretes that butyric acid right from the back of the abdomen. Yep. And that, woof. Oh, it's got a huge waft of it, yeah. Ooh. But I also want to show you, look at this. Look at the center thorax of this beetle. It's got like serrated edges. It almost looks like a knife on both sides of it. It's super bizarre and menacing. That head and neck, elongated. It's like a giraffe almost. Kind of looks like a giant assassin bug meets a cockroach, meets a mantis. This is truly the territory of bizarre insects. Easily the most unique looking insect that I've ever held. Welcome to Thailand, am I right? Now you can see it has very long antennae. It's gonna be using those as sensories to navigate through the environment, and you can see how flat it is. Look at how flat its body is. It's specifically designed to fit between bark and bracketed fungus. Between those two beady little eyes and those long horned antennae, there's a set of jaws in the center of the face. These violin beetles are great predators. It doesn't seem to be too dangerous, but you never can be too careful when you're dealing with exotic insects in uncharted territory. How about that? I would call that a very successful adventure out here in Kankerchan National Park in Southwest Thailand, coming across what is, in my opinion, the most bizarre insect on the planet, the violin beetle. All right, let's put the beetle back under the log and head home. This is Project Chimps, and they're fighting to create a forever home for these forgotten primates. Founded in 2015 by a group of chimpanzee advocates, including Billy Joe Armstrong and Rachel Ray, they created a sanctuary that sits on 230 acres of forested land in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia. Today, I've been invited to Project Chimps for one of the biggest moments in the nonprofit's history. And I'm joined by India, one of the caregivers here. She will show us how much work goes into creating a better life for these chimpanzees and how they are expanding to improve their lives even more. But before we can learn about this landmark moment, we need to meet the chimps and learn what has already been done to date. So we mask up and prepare for our first chimp encounter. Oh, wow. Hey guys. We got a bunch of chimps right here in front of us.
This is Paul down here, closest to us. And then that's Lancelot with a mouthful of chimp chow. They get chimp chow twice a day. It's weighed out, and it's technically a nutritionally complete diet, but then we supplement produce on top of that.
And is this where the chimpanzees sleep at night?
Yeah, so they all come in here. This group, we actually have a good amount. Hi, Thomas.
Thomas.
So this group is a group of homebodies. They like to be in here. But at the end of the day, we call them in from the habitat, give them their dinner, any medications they need.
Next course, number 2 will be fruits, and you can see some people are already getting excited.
We find ourselves calling them people a lot of the time too. They're not human, but they have personhood in the way that we experience personhood, the individual personalities.
It's so easy to recognize their mannerisms. So I've got a big case of sweet potatoes, plums, and more plums. This is clearly a fan favorite. Let's go feed them. The more I interacted with the chimps, the more it became clear that each and every one had an individual personality. And within 15 minutes of feeding, I could already start to identify them. So how many chimpanzees live in this area?
In this group, we have 19. So there are 10 girls and 9 boys. Prince is the alpha of this group. He's sitting in that door, sucking on a plum pit.
Okay, so this is this dessert?
It basically, yes. This is pumpkin, applesauce, and oats, and some spices.
Well, could you use a hand?
I would love a hand. I just take about a finger amount.
A glob?
A glob.
It actually smells pretty good.
It does.
Getting it everywhere. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Amazing technique. So this is something called fishing tubes that we do for them. And it replicates a behavior that they would do in the wild, which is taking sticks, long blades of grass, and fishing inside of things for other things. This is what Jane Goodall first observed when she was researching chimps.
All right, wow. That was cool. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Before we reveal the big thing that we came here for, can you tell us a little bit about how this all started? Like, what is Project Chimps?
It was made illegal to research biomedically on chimps in 2015. So all of these chimps that are living in labs need somewhere to go afterwards. So 2015, we bought this property, formerly a gorilla sanctuary, but we did a bunch of renovations, millions of dollars worth of renovations to make it chimp accessible. So climbing structures, swinging structures.
What is Project Chimps' mission with each individual?
Our goal is to provide exemplary care to them until the end of their lives. So live out their lives here in as natural of a environment as we can replicate in captivity.
Including, I heard, entertainment?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you have this beautiful backdrop. I mean, it looks like a resort. And I heard there's also amenities. Can you tell us about what's going on?
So something that's really important to us is enrichment and providing that enrichment for chimps. In the wild, they would be walking 50 miles a day. They would be foraging for all of their own food, but here they get more of a room service situation. So we clean up after them, we give them all of their meals, but we also provide extra things, enrichment things to fulfill their lives more. So give them a food-based enrichment twice a day. And then we also have themed enrichment every day. Or we'll do movies on Tech Day. So we have flat screen TVs in each of the buildings. And so we'll put on documentaries.
And I heard there's even like concerts?
So yeah, we do have concerts for chimps. So we have musicians come in from all over, local people. People will come in just to perform for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that background, India. And now I'm really interested to go learn a little bit more by observing some more chimp behavior. And I think time for stop 2. Let's go. All right, guys, because we're gonna be making contact with the food that the chimpanzees are going to touch and ultimately eat, we have to make sure we protect them by wearing gloves and a mask. How do we feed a chimpanzee lunch at Project Chimps?
Yeah, so we got this slingshot rigged up, but it's super cool because we get to put the food inside of it, and we just pull it back, let it go, and it encourages natural foraging behaviors.
Look at that.
That's Noelle with her
Noelle
stick.
is hungry. All right, Noelle, I got this for you. Celery, you ready? It's lunchtime. Oh, too far.
Oh, Babs will go get it. She said, I'll get closer.
She's climbing up there.
She's a goofball.
There you go. Noelle, you're climbing the tree and they're gonna get this. The chimps have moved here to this platform. Apparently, there's a bit of like an ongoing challenge. If you can hit the platform with the lunch, serve it up right, 6 points. I don't know if there's any other point system, but it's 6 points and I want them. Let's go. Something's gonna stick. No!
2 green beans.
2 green beans. I mean,
that was a good one.
That's a lot of points. Yes. Noelle, this is for you. I see you looking. I like it. Perfect. Right in between. And there you have it. That is how you feed lunch here at Project Chimps, or one of the ways. See? Applause. While slingshotting lunch was fun, it's now time to go check out how Project Chimps is expanding and trying to create a much better life for the chimpanzees that call this place home. All right, well, India, the weather's changed a little bit on us.
Yep.
No big deal. It's all part of the adventure, guys, but this is what we wanted to show you. Let me flip around the camera and unveil the brand new annex here at Project Chimps. Are you kidding me?
It's
This
very exciting.
is like state of the art. Guys, this is not Jurassic Park. This is Project Chimps. This is not only the first day that people get to see it, but also the chimpanzees. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes this annex so special here?
The most special thing about this annex is that it has walls that you can see through. So there's a 360 view for the chimps inside of the annex as well as for the humans outside of the annex.
All right, so this is the Sky Bridge.
It is.
Oh man, this is so cool. Okay, so I take it chimpanzees in the villa. Access through the Sky Bridge.
Yep.
And then what is this?
This
There's
up
another
here,
thing here.
This is called the portal. So this is their portal from the Sky Bridge into the annex.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, so these are the operations for the doors. So this is what humans move to open and close the doors. They're locked, of course, very safe. And then in here, this is gonna be a chimp space. So these doors will all be closed and the chimps will have access to this room, the portal room, and then be able to go through this door out into the annex.
So this is like a barrier fence, it looks like.
It is.
I was told 2 acres of open space.
Yep. And then this is called the corridor. So it's our safety spot. In case the chimp was to get out, we have this extra layer of protection for them. And then we
Okay.
have a door that they can come back in.
Very cool. I just want to show you real quick. Look at that. Green, both sides. It feels so nice standing in here as a human being, and you can only imagine how it's going to be for these chimpanzees. Now here's how it's going to go down real quick. Team's up there prepping the chimpanzees to be released into the annex. We've got a grand opening ceremony with lots of folks down here at the bottom. As soon as the ribbon is cut, we're gonna make our way back up the hill to try to see the chimpanzees crossing into the Sky Bridge. I wanna see those expressions. I wanna see their reaction to being in this awesome place. We're being called down. Here we go. It's game time.
So this will be the first time for most of these chimps where they can go outside and actually see the expanse of nature. We're giving them a world without walls. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They're already inside. Still trying to get all the chimps into the annex, but a lot of them flew right through, guys. They just already knew what to do. No instructions required. Boom, right through the Sky Bridge into the annex. This new area, checking it out, already playing on the barrel swings and the ropes. Look, oh, hey buddy. They love it. They absolutely love it. Gosh. Pretty emotional, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of people down there. There's a few tears, a lot of smiles, a lot of handshakes, a lot of work has gone into this. And you could tell just how happy everybody is to see this day. Time to go dive with sharks at night.
Within minutes, the entire landscape turned pitch black, and our only field of view was directly in front of us. Other divers in the distance appeared as alien craft, with orb-like lights designating their location. With ominous shadows stirring the now murky water, we were surrounded on all sides by 2 things that have terrified humans since the beginning: sharks and darkness. But our focus was sharp, and as soon as we got our bearings, our fear was gone. Mostly. And then, suddenly, we came upon something that would change my perspective of sharks forever. It was a lemon shark, and it appeared to be, well, sleeping. Okay, so sharks don't actually sleep. At least, not like we sleep. But some sharks, like nurse sharks or this lemon shark, go into restful periods that appear like sleep. But trust me, this shark was still wide awake and ready to defend itself against anything, including a curious first-time night diver. But did that stop me? Nope. This would be the perfect opportunity to get some great close-ups of that shark. And of course, its razor-sharp teeth. Lemon sharks can grow up to 10 feet long and weigh over 400 pounds. But despite their imposing size, they tend to be gentle giants and are not responsible for any known human fatalities. Although, like any shark, they will bite if provoked. They can be found in shallow waters and hunt with their incredible electroreceptors. And just in case you're wondering, they do have a slightly yellow tinge to their skin, you know, like a lemon. Gentle or not, I knew this sleeping giant was still an apex predator capable of inflicting life-threatening injuries. And the last thing I wanted to do was provoke it, especially at night this far from shore. But we filmed with grizzly bears and badgers. This was my chance. I had to get the shot. And to my surprise, I was able to lie right next to the nearly 10-foot shark. This was amazing. A life-changing experience, to say the least. And now, I would never approach a tiger shark or other top land predator like this. But laying there, beside this incredible creature, I could sense its gentle nature. And it became clear that it had accepted my presence and was allowing us to film with it. And then, I reached out. Testing its trust, I couldn't believe it. It actually let me make contact. I was literally petting a shark. This chance encounter cultivated within me a growing sense of connection, not only to this creature, but to its entire aquatic realm. Swimming during the day in a frenzy of tiger sharks, and now petting a lemon shark on my first night dive, reminded me of how misunderstood these animals are. Our fear of them, like our fear of the dark, is really just a fear of the unknown. Every single time we go out for a venture, we've managed to see something unexpected. And this incredible dive, our first night dive, was no exception. Swimming among them, and literally lying beside them in the darkness of Tiger Beach at night, brought home to me more than ever how meaningful our adventures could be to better understanding the mysteries of the ocean.
Today we are searching for the King Kong crab in an effort to be one of the first to film this newly discovered creature. This crab gets its name from its gorilla-like stance, which makes it look like King Kong watching over its jungle kingdom. To find one, we are diving in the middle of the Coral Triangle in Indonesia. Water visibility today is limited, which will make it even more challenging to spot this rare and elusive animal. The type of diving we are doing is called muck diving because of all the debris and loose sediment in this environment, but it is a prime location to find a King Kong crab. Heading down to the bottom, we have about 60 minutes of air in the tank. All right, first spot of the day. Not exactly the crab we're after, but it's a good sign that we're on the right track. That is an arrow crab, which blends in almost perfectly with its surroundings. Now, I don't know exactly what species of arrow crab this is. Many of the animals in the Coral Triangle are not yet documented by science, therefore are not yet named. Very similar to the King Kong crab. Luckily, I'm with a few experienced divers today that know this area well. They will be helping us navigate these waters and search for the best areas to look. This is interesting. At first glance, you would think this is just an ordinary soft coral, but when inspected closely, you can see it's covered in tiny pink coral crabs. These crabs are using the coral for shelter from predators, but they also appear to be cleaning it, making their living arrangement a symbiotic relationship with the coral. They sure appear to be busy, and certainly are a very unique creature. All right, we have about 50% of our tank left. So far, no signs of the King Kong crab, but we're not giving up yet. That right there is a nudibranch, and this area is famous for the variety of nudibranch species that live down here. Nudibranchs are sea slugs, which are typically very colorful and unusual in shape. And what's very interesting about these sea slugs is how different they look from one another. You can see that this one has yellow appendages that look like feathers sticking out of its head and its abdomen. Some sea slugs are completely covered in appendages like these. So bizarre. And while they are voracious predators, typically on the move, you can see that this pair in front of us are likely trying to make some baby nudibranch. So we're going to leave them be and continue our search for the King Kong crab. All right, lots of debris up there and many places to hide. Let's get down lower and really search this area well. There it is, guys. That is it. That is what we have been searching for, the King Kong crab. From the little information I've been able to dig up, this is also called a sponge spider crab. And from what I've seen out there from the few photos I've been able to find, this creature has never been documented on video before. So what you are seeing is likely the very first 4K footage of this animal. Its movement is very strange, and it almost doesn't look real. It's almost like an animatronic with those giant puffy arms and white specks for eyes. And when you look closely, its shell really does look like a sponge with all those pores and holes in it. And just behind it right there is another species of spider crab called the orangutan crab, which are much more common in these parts and seem to coexist with this species rather well. There it is. That is the iconic angle I have been looking for. You can see now why this animal has earned its nickname. Look at how it just stands there, proudly over its cliff with those massive arms out in front, just like King Kong himself. Now these animals are predators, but they are screen predators, and they will skim the water for plankton and other small crustaceans to eat. You see all those tiny hairs along its arms? That's what it's using to screen the water, and it will actually scoop in that motion to draw food closer to their mouths, which is just between those two small pinchers in front of the eyes. Well, I would say that is a very successful dive today in Indonesia, coming across the King Kong crab and likely filming this creature for the very first time. I had to paddle out about 1.5 miles from the marina here on the South Shore, just south of Boston. And now we're on foot because the water is way too shallow to paddle. We're going to park the kayak just up here and try to anchor it so it doesn't float away. And hopefully the tide doesn't come back in before we get back to the kayak. That would be a bad day. I'd be swimming 1 mile back to home. Kayak all the way up, grab our backpack, and we are going to head off on the greatest clamming adventure you've ever witnessed. Well, at least I hope. All right, here we go. The mouth of the estuary or salt marsh. You'll find a lot of these places have different names. And this is an intertidal zone, so that means the tide's gonna go up and down. It's full of all kinds of different substrates, like pretty much pure sand, just like that. And if you just walk a little further up here, it gets very organic and rooted, almost like a mossy mud. That's what's really cool about this environment. There's a lot of different looks. And this different substrate from spot to spot is also going to provide environments for a lot of different kinds of animals.
But today in particular, we are looking for this soft-shelled clam. This is gonna be a little tricky to get down. Oh boy. Whew, here we go, into the adventure. Whoa, whoa, oh yeah, oh yeah. Whew. Oh, here's a crab. What do we have here? Look at this guy. All right, there we go. First creature of the trip. And this one is familiar if you've already seen our tide pool adventure in New England, which we recently released. And let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spikes on each side of the eye. Pop quiz, what kind of crab is this? If you guessed green crab, you are absolutely correct. That's a good sign, healthy environment, lots of life. Now this is an invasive predatory crab, not necessarily the best thing for these environments, but they are established at this point. And anytime you're looking for animals and you see other creatures, that's a very good sign. So I'm gonna let this crab go. And we're gonna talk about this. This is no longer a living bivalve, but it was recently. This is the Atlantic version of a razor clam, so they're also called jackknife clams. These are some of the fastest bivalves that live in this environment. As we get more into this estuary, you'll see there's going to be more and more shell debris around because there are a lot of things out here in this environment that eat these bivalves. This place in particular has a high concentration of soft shell clams, today's target species. And I can see what we're looking for just ahead of us. Whew. All right, everybody, we finally made it. We had a long paddle out, had a long hike into this estuary, but the creature we're after is right below the surface in front of us. Now, the reason I know this is because of those. You see all those little holes? It's called a clamshell, and it's basically a telltale sign that if there's a hole in the surface of the sand, it's showing that there's a clam that lives just below the surface. So first things first, let me get set up, get all the cameras situated, and then I'll put on some gloves, we'll start digging, and I'm gonna show you some pretty cool things about some clams you've probably never seen before. Here we go, the clams we've been searching for today that we've traveled miles to find are just a few inches below the surface. Now, there's no way to find these clams without getting a little bit dirty, so we're just gonna embrace it. I'm using gloves because I'm worried about getting sliced by all the shells and fragments that are in the soil. You can see some of the clam shows here. There's probably dozens of clams down in this soil. All right, here we go. Gonna dig in. Now you wanna dig carefully. They're called soft shell clams for a reason. These clams have a very brittle shell, and if you're not careful, you can crack them quite easily. And what I'm feeling for are the ridges of the side of the clam, because these clams are vertical in the soil, meaning they lay on their side, not flat like the hard shell clams. I got one, okay. First clam of the day, this is exciting. All right, I'm just gonna move this back. Here we go, I'm gonna wiggle it out. Oh, there it is. Our first soft shell clam. Look at that one. Oh, it's squirting everywhere. They actually are called squirting clams or spraying clams because they do squirt water out just like that. But that's a really good one to look at. We're gonna put that off to the side. Oh, okay, got another one. Let me show you what I found. I'm gonna get the other camera. So if you can see down in there, that is the top ridge of a clam. And what I wanna do is just take it out, just like that. Check that out. That is a nice soft shell clam. Let's see if we can find one more. You can see here, that's why I'm wearing gloves. You have all these fragments of shells down in the soil. Let's see if we can find one more. Oh yeah, here we go. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a good one. I think that's gonna do it for the finding of clams. We're gonna leave this open right now because we're gonna put all the clams back in, but I'm going to get out a container, fill it with some clear water, clean off these clams so we can take a super close look at why this is such a bizarre creature. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's first talk about the shell of these clams. Now these shells are very brittle. And like I said when we were digging it up, we had to be super careful as to not crack the shell. If the shell is cracked, the clam can actually get sick and die, so we would not want that to happen. But these shells are actually made out of calcium carbonate produced by the organism itself from the things that it eats. It will build layer after layer of shell. It will grow up to a size of 4 inches in length. They are called bivalves because they have 2 shells, and that's why it gets the name bi, meaning 2. And this clam in particular is interesting because it cannot close all the way. A lot of other mollusks and bivalves can actually close up in their shells all the way. They're always looking kind of half open. Don't worry, they're not sick. That's exactly how they're supposed to be. You see that little nubbin? That is a siphon, and the siphon has 2 tubes, and believe it or not, this siphon can stick up to the surface 8 to 12 inches. But right now the clam is taking cover. It's very bright out, so it's gonna be as tucked in as it can. When the tide comes back in and this clam is back in the soil, it will put that siphon all the way up to the surface. And that's what's making all these clam shows. That's what gave away the clam's location to us for this adventure. Now what's cool about this siphon is it has 2 tubes, one for taking in water and one for expelling water. These clams are filter feeders, so when they're drawing in water through one side of the siphon, they're actually taking that water across their gills to absorb the oxygen, and then all the food that they're eating, which is that microscopic algae in the water, goes to their mouth and then it goes all the way through the digestive system. And these clams, believe it or not, can filter up to 50 liters of water a day. And for a little creature like that, that's pretty impressive. So pretty much all day long, when there's water covering where they live, they're like a vacuum cleaner, just drinking up and filtering that water. Pretty cool. Now, the other thing that I find particularly interesting about these clams is their life cycle. They don't start life right here in the soil. They actually start as planktonic larvae. So the male and female clams will spray their gametes and their eggs into the water column through their siphons, and they will float out to sea. Now, when those eggs hatch, for the first few weeks of life, these clams are actually free swimming organisms, or larvae. And when they grow big enough and become heavy enough, they will actually sink to the bottom. They will affix themselves to grow even larger by using byssal, which is that spider web-like strandy stuff. Now here's the really interesting part, and the one that really impresses me. These clams know when they grow large enough, release that byssal, and they will actually ride the tide back into the estuaries. And once they find the perfect spot with the right kind of soil, they will use their foot and they will dig down. And once they're there, they will spend their entire rest of their existence right in that place, which could be up to 12 years. And I think that life cycle has to be one of the most impressive things that I learned when researching this bivalve. And I'm happy that I finally got to share it with you here today and to show you these really cool and bizarre soft-shell clams. We are on a sea turtle rescue mission, and right now there's a turtle on a beach about 15 miles north from here and needs our help. These sea turtles, when they end up beach, it's because they're distressed and they can no longer swim. And without programs like the one we're participating in, they would all certainly die. So needless to say, this sea turtle right now, its life depends on us.
Just this past year alone, more than 850 sea turtles were rescued off the shores of Massachusetts, a number that has been sadly increasing. Endangered sea turtles like the Chimps ridley, green, and loggerhead are washing up on beaches due to cold stunning, and the changing climate is only making matters worse.
I think I see it. Yep, here's our turtle. A volunteer was combing this beach and they discovered this Chimps ridley sea turtle. And this is exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to take the turtles off of the beach, away from the wind, and then you can see it was covered here with this bit of straw to protect it from exposure. And it does look like we are in time for this sea turtle to have a chance, because you can see it still has a little bit of strength in its neck, just enough to pick up its head. And that is a very good sign, because most of the turtles that you find that are cold stunned cannot move whatsoever. So let's bundle this little turtle up and take it to the Wellfleet Sanctuary, where it will start its process of rehabilitation and hopeful re-release back into the wild.
Rapidly fluctuating sea temperatures due to climate change are narrowing the window for these turtles to safely migrate south each year. Rising sea temperatures are holding the turtles in northern waters for too long, and any sudden drop in water temperature below 50 degrees results in a mass cold stunning event for these marine reptiles.
We have to be super quiet because these turtles are already really stressed, and loud noises have been proven to stress them even further. Oh, poor little turtle. We did notice that it had a bit of a response when we picked it up off the beach. Like it had some ability to raise its head.
So that's pretty rare, honestly. A lot of the time these turtles are barely moving at all. Sometimes we'll think a turtle's dead and we'll leave it overnight to assess in the morning to make sure that it's still alive. Yeah.
Cool. Is this our turtle?
This is our turtle.
All right. How do we know that this turtle isn't dead?
So when we first bring it onto this processing table, we will check to see if its flippers are in rigor.
Rigor is short for rigor mortis. When an animal dies, it starts to seize up and all of its joints and body parts become stiff.
So there was slight movement right there.
Saw that.
Yep, we'll kind of gently tug on their back flippers, and then we'll touch their eye for a small eye response as well. And then what we'll do is we will actually use this pit tag scanner here, because sometimes these turtles wash in and they have been tagged and no tag was detected here. Then the next thing we'll do is we will take measurements of its carapace. We will look to see if there are any injuries on the turtle anywhere, sometimes from pecking from seagulls if they've been sitting on the beach for a while. And then they'll sometimes have some wounds on their carapace.
And that's why it's so important to get these turtles off the beach as quickly as possible. Each animal receives a number upon entry to the Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. And of the 4 sea turtles we assisted in rescuing, number 569 was the first to be sent for urgent care.
On your way, bud.
So we quickly mobilized and followed it to the New England Aquarium's Sea Turtle Hospital. Look at all these turtles. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. Let's go, guys. All right, here we are at the Sea Turtle Hospital. Let's go inside to see our Chimps Ridley start its rehabilitation process. Come on this way. All right, how's it going, Adam? Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming.
So are these our turtles?
These are our turtles, and you got 569, and the Chimps are very similar looking. And as you'll see, there's lots of turtles everywhere. And once they get into the water, they look even more similar. So we'll bring them up, we'll put a number on their shell, and we put a band around their flipper. So that way when we're looking for certain turtles, especially when they're in the water, they'll be easier to find.
Awesome.
Now we're gonna try to listen to see what the heart rate sounds like.
Cool. And their metabolism at this rate is very slow.
Extremely slow.
And that's why you need these special instruments to be able to read that. We're listening for the turtle's heartbeat. So far, I just hear static. Oh, I think I just heard a whoosh. So this turtle's significantly lower heart rate than it's going to be when it leaves.
Exactly,
okay.
Yeah. So with that, we will give it a dose of epinephrine. That will help get that heart rate a little bit up there and a little bit more prep for a swim.
So this is like the jump start for the rehabilitation process here at the hospital. Once a sea turtle receives epinephrine, it is then placed in a small pool of water for observation. Also called a swim test, this is where the clinical team will look for signs of other damage and possible infections. Let's see how 569 does.
So that's a great sign, obviously, that nice little breath there. And turtle's going into the water. And so, yeah, I mean, he's ready to go.
That.
For these turtles, freshwater is important because of the dehydration piece. Helps rehydrate them. 1 or 2 days in that freshwater won't be detrimental, and then they're into the full saltwater tanks. These turtles have been out there breathing in cold air, water, so we see a lot of pneumonia. So you can kind of see he's slowing down a little bit there.
Okay.
We also see how high in the water he is, so he's definitely got some gas in his system there that's keeping him very floaty. As you can see, and he has some odd coloration in those front flippers, so he may have some skin issues that over the next few days as he warms up might become a little bit more prevalent.
So I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Adam, but in your professional experience, how would you say our turtle here, number 569, is looking in terms of its potential for rehabilitation?
Yeah, no, the prognosis for this turtle at this point would be good. I saw some bubbles coming out of the ears, the nose. Then you saw him lift his head and took a nice breath. So that's all great things.
Love it. That is so great to hear. And it's so nice to see the turtle lively again. I feel like most people who would encounter one of these cold stun turtles on the beach might even think they were already dead. But sure enough, here at the hospital, after a little shot of epinephrine and a chance to swim, we've got a lot of movement. All right, so now that our turtle has swam for the first time at the hospital, part of the rehabilitation process of warming them back up to the appropriate temperature, which is about 72 degrees, takes a few days. After treating nearly 5,000 turtles, this facility has learned quite a bit about how to bring the temperature back up in the appropriate way, and the best way they found to do it is a staged process over days using multiple tanks. Over the next 2 days, they will actually be placed in the saltwater baths that will raise them up to about 65 degrees and then eventually up to the 72 degrees that you'll see here in the holding tanks. these turtles here, they're already being raised up to temperature. Pretty cool, and definitely something that really helps these turtles stand a chance of being re-released. Along with being critically endangered, the Chimps ridley is also the rarest sea turtle on the planet. Once abundant, their population suffered a massive crash in the 1980s, where as few as 250 nesting females were estimated to remain. Luckily for the world's smallest and rarest sea turtle, large-scale conservation efforts helped restore their population to stability by the mid-2000s. However, with current climate trends being as they are, the pressure is now back on to save this species from extinction. I've heard reports that the Chimps ridley are somewhere in the population of 30 to 40,000 individuals in the world. Is that what you've heard also?
They are a critically endangered population.
So, I mean, the fact that you're seeing thousands of turtles come to the facility, this is a significant mass of this species.
Getting these guys through and back into the ocean is critical.
Well, this is not the end of the road for the video, guys. We actually have one more step that we want to show you as part of this turtle rehabilitation program. This one, though, is going to take us on a short trip to the airport. So as you can see, we are no longer in the Sea Turtle Hospital. We are in an air hangar because there's an amazing volunteer program called Turtles Fly 2 that takes these sea turtles down to warmer waters in the southern United States, where they will finish their rehabilitation and be released back into the wild much sooner than Mother Nature would allow here in New England. And we just got word that the turtles will arrive, so it's time to get to work and load up these sea turtles. All right, so you have a van load and a truckload full of sea turtles that are being loaded up by volunteers and aquarium staff onto this aircraft right now. They're trying to set a record today by loading 100 sea turtles onto this airplane. That's a lot of reptiles. So right now the pilot and the co-pilot are up there playing a little bit of turtle Tetris to try to get all of these animals loaded up onto this aircraft. It takes a lot of resources to fly these turtles, so they want to make sure every flight is efficient and as productive as they can. Trying to get one more up there?
Yeah, I think they have a little shorter banana box.
Okay. Nice. Oh, there's more turtles. There's always more turtles. Last one. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, got the final turtle box to load into the aircraft. Last one. Something I never thought I would say. Turtles on an airplane. But here in New England, it happens about a dozen times a year. That's cool. The turtles that make the flight to Florida are the ones ready to be released back into the wild. But others needing more long-term rehabilitation, like our friend 569, will continue to receive care at the Sea Turtle Hospital until they are ready to be released when spring returns to New England. Researchers have predicted that by 2031, just 8 years from this video's release, thousands of cold-stunned sea turtles will wash up on New England shores every single year. It takes an amazing collaboration to combat these events and return healthy sea turtles into the ocean to rejoin their populations. From emergency veterinarians to airplane pilots to hundreds of beachcombing volunteers, I was so proud to play a small part in saving these rare and endangered animals. Our search for the lost city of Manatees began at dawn, and the thick fog lifting off the water was the perfect backdrop as we ventured further into the realm of these mysterious creatures. Manatee have been tied to ocean folklore for centuries and are rumored to have been the source of many sea monster and mermaid sightings. As I paddled forward, I could hear strange breaths and tail slaps just out of sight. The light breaking through the mist danced across the water and played tricks on my eyes. And even I admit, my imagination created images of giant creatures lurking below. All right, the sun is rising, the fog is subsiding. On this trip, we're going somewhere new. We're going right to the source of the spring water. And with any luck, the manatees will accept us and come in for their close-up. As the moment to enter the water drew near, my heart was racing and my anticipation was off the charts. As with any aquatic adventure, the moment you plunge beneath the surface is the instant you realize you are now entering a completely different world. As my eyes adjusted and I began to slowly swim forward, I noticed a shadowy figure approaching from the left. My curiosity propelled me,
But just when I thought I was getting closer, it vanished, like a ghost. Then I remembered, to swim with manatee you must be brave, be still, and wait patiently. So I froze and scanned for movement. And then they appeared. Seeing the first manatee of the day was thrilling. With all the news of their disappearance, I was nervous we might have come all this way without being welcomed back. If nothing else, manatee are highly intelligent, and just like their closest living relative, the elephant, it's said they never forget. One by one, they started to swim closer, and eventually began to encircle me, while slowly pushing our group beyond the murky channel. It was clear they wanted me to follow them through a narrow passage, so I cautiously navigated forward, not sure what to expect on the other side. There was a swift current we all swam against, but I was sure this is where they must have come from. The murky water eventually gave way to a crystal clear expanse, and it became obvious. This Clearwater Spring wasn't just their home. This was a manatee paradise.
I want to thank Deal Dash for sponsoring this video. They help make this story possible, and without great partners like them, we wouldn't be able to update you on the current situation facing this species. Deal Dash is an online auction site that lets you compete for huge savings on brands you know and products you love. We're talking up to 99% off, guys. Okay, so let's give this a shot. There we go. Every adventure needs a new set of binos, am I right? So here's how it works. You buy a bid pack, you can get like 10, 50, 100, etc. bids. Each bid raises the price by 1 cent, and the auction clock restarts at 10 seconds every time someone else bids. And I'm gonna bid on these right now. Dang it! So I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna go 150 bids on the bid buddy. Ready? 150. Book 'em. Fingers crossed. Oh, we won! We won! We got, yes! So that was awesome. Right now there's a good promotion going on. If you're a fan of Brave Wilderness, if you type in wilderness as the promo code, you get 100 free bids on the purchase of your first bid pack. So go check out Deal Dash, have some fun. Maybe you'll win something like we did today. And now it's time to get back in the water with the manatees.
The freshwater springs of Florida are a manatee's favorite sanctuary for a reason. The springs stay a warm 72 degrees year-round and serve as an oasis during winter months, as manatee lack the body fat of other marine mammals, making them susceptible to cold snaps. I know it's hard to believe, but trust me, they get chilled easily. Although manatee can grow up to 10 foot long and weigh 1,200 pounds, they are a fragile indicator species. They do not tolerate pollution or changing climate well at all. In just the last 2 years, it is sadly reported that we have lost 25% of all Florida manatee. As I swam further into the manatee's spring, they began to approach in great numbers. One by one, they would appear and then swim off again, almost to test and see if we were there for the right reasons. When you're in the water with them, there are ground rules, including respecting restricted areas, no feeding, and the biggest of all, which is no grabbing or chasing a manatee. You should always watch from a respectful distance. If they want to approach you, trust me, they will. Manatees are naturally curious and very gentle, but they are also enormous and not nearly as slow as they might seem. If they're around you, it's because they choose to be. If they want to leave, they can in the blink of an eye. Manatees are very social creatures, and when they want to make contact, it's abundantly clear they're choosing you. Almost like a friendly golden retriever, they will nudge you and extend their flipper to connect with their new human friend. This typically lasts for only a moment or two, then they're off again. However, what you're about to see is the most amazing manatee encounter I have ever experienced. Manatee have a unique language and can speak to each other, so it's easy to hear when they get excited. I don't know what this one was saying to the rest, but whatever it was certainly had them more curious. So much so, I was essentially swarmed. Seeing this many manatee in one place was a rare and amazing sight. There must have been over 100 of them. Their eyes would follow mine, and their connection to me was clear. Every time one would leave, another would approach looking for the same attention. And it was easy to get lost in the awe of their playful behavior. After about 30 minutes, I had truly lost count of how many manatee had approached the camera. And compared to my previous experiences, I knew that this one was special. And sadly, perhaps the last time I would ever see so many in a single place. I could have stayed in the spring forever, but as light started to fade, it was time to make our way back to the kayaks. And for some of us, it was easier than others. We kayaked through what seemed like a desert, where seagrass once thrived, only to witness manatees struggling to feed on what little grass remained. Manatees need to eat up to 150 pounds of vegetation each day, and without thriving seagrass, we witnessed mothers and calves heading back out to the frigid sea to find more food, and that should not be happening this time of year. The loss of seagrass is a big factor to why so many manatee are dying, but there are also more established threats, including pollution and changing weather patterns. And then there are the boat strikes. These are the saddest of all, as many manatees each year are hit by boats, with many not surviving these machine encounters. It is truly heartbreaking to see pieces missing from their tails, and large scars covering their entire bodies. It's also a reminder that we need to do a better job to look out for these animals if we are to share their habitats for recreation. They are so special, and aside from our furry canine companions, the manatee are perhaps humans' best friend, at least when we're in the water.
Woo! Wow. It is never a bad day when you get to swim with the Florida manatee, but let's all do our part in preserving this experience for generations to come, and more importantly, their environment and source of food. The quokka has become a viral sensation for its smiley demeanor, so we brought our cameras with us in hopes of snapping a selfie with Australia's friendliest marsupial. Let's go find a quokka. The only way to get to Rottnest Island is by boat, where it's easy to see that spotting a quokka is one of the main reasons that people make this voyage. Now, these boats follow a very strict schedule for leaving the island, so let's not waste any time and get right to searching. Here we go. I've got 3 hours to explore Rottnest Island to get that selfie with the quokka. Now, of course, they're friendly, but there are some rules about encountering the quokka. It's important to know that we can't actually touch a quokka. We have to respect them and not give chase if they want to walk away. Now, they are curious, so hopefully they'll approach us if they're feeling friendly, but at the end of the day, they are wild animals and we don't want to stress them out. But hopefully I'll be able to get up close enough with this camera to snap a selfie. What I have here is a 360 camera, and it's capable of capturing images from any direction, so this will come in handy when trying to get our quokka selfie. Throw that in the trash. Beautiful place. Great view, but I think the quokkas will be closer to the bushes and the shrubs off of the beach. Those plants are their food source, so that's where I bet they'll be. Now, these animals are endangered, but are found in their highest concentrations here on Rottnest. And they could literally be anywhere. We're seeing lots of quokka poo all over the place. This is a good indication that we are on the right track. This is fresh. Do you guys know what that is? What do you get when you mix a quokka and a poodle? Quokka poo. Blech. So far, no quokkas, but we do see one. We should be able to get some good video. A lot of the quokka are likely taking cover already to retreat from the sun. So looks like this line of trees might be a good bet to get our encounter. We are very far south of the equator. It's only 9:45 in the morning, but the sun has already risen to really high above the horizon. And our guess is the quokkas are already sheltering for the afternoon. So we're going to scan this tree line here and see if we can find any huddled up. Now, these aren't very large creatures. They grow to the size of an average house cat. but when early settlers first landed on Rottnest Island, they confused the quokka with giant rats. So that's actually how this island got its name. Rottnest or rat nest is a long-standing term that's held the test of time, but of course is highly inaccurate. The quokka is not a rodent, it's not a rat, it's actually a marsupial, and arguably one of the friendliest little furry creatures living on our planet today. So I told myself if I was ever gonna get the chance to explore Rottnest Island, I was gonna do it because I wanna get my opportunity to get up close with the happiest creature, the quokka, and get my selfie. All right, here we go, we're gonna have a scan. Oh, got one. Guys, we got our first quokka. Hey, buddy. Hello. Hi. I've heard you are the friendliest animal in all of the world. Doesn't really care to say hello right now, though. Let's see here. Let's try going around this way. Hi. How are you? Do you want to come over to me? Say hi? Do you like cameras? No? No, you don't like cameras, huh? That's okay. We'll leave you be and find another quokka for our selfie. Let's move on. All right, guys. We have a quokka. Go be calm. I'm going in for the selfie. Hi, buddy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a quokka, and it's hopping away. Hi. Let me go with my camera, see if I can get my selfie. That's a quokka. Let's see if I can get my selfie. Ready? Hi. Hi. Nope, didn't get it. This little guy doesn't want us getting super close, so we're just gonna have to film with our zoom lens and find a happier quokka for our selfie. Oh, there's one on the other side of this wall. Look at this guy. He looks like he's smiling. Look at that. He's just hanging out on the other side of this fence though, so we'll leave him be. Hello. We're here for a quokka selfie. Can we hang for a bit? Now these quokkas in the fall will give birth to joeys that will be carried around in their pouch while they're being reared, just like a kangaroo, but it is nap time. Check that out. See, this quokka's about ready to go down for its afternoon nap. I think that means no selfie from this little guy. Gotta be under these trees. All right, guys, we have our quokka. I'm gonna come in, try to get my selfie with the quokka. Look at how tiny they are. Look at their hind feet. Definitely classic marsupial rear leg, and they can't hop. No, 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 no. All right. This is becoming tough. We are in the last hour of our search. Unfortunately, this midday sun is not working to our advantage. This is proving to be a little more challenging than I think any of us expected. Gotta find the friendliest quokka we can, and we gotta find it fast. This makes sense. Got a lot of shade, and we've got a quokka right there. Guys, this is our quokka. Here we go. Hi, buddy. Hi. I'm gonna approach slowly. Go around this way. Look at him. There he is. I'm gonna take off my pack carefully. I'm gonna grab this GoPro. In case we wanna film with it. Hi, buddy. You guys come around to the other side. You having a little lunch? Hello. How are you? Okay, guys. We've got one. We are so happy to see you. I'm just gonna put this here. It's okay. No, no. Come back. Come back. It's okay. Come on back. Here. Here. It's okay. Yum, yum, yum. So, the quokka is very difficult to locate in mainland Australia. You can see why they would get into so much trouble with invasive species or other predators. Here on Rottnest, they do a very good job limiting the amount of feral cats and foxes that would make a snack out of a quokka. So it makes complete sense why their population is doing so well. And you are so cute and friendly. I'm gonna get a little closer, okay? Just a little bit closer. Look at it, how cute this animal is. There you go. You want this? You want this? I thought you were having lunch. Okay, we're gonna get ahead just a little bit. You can see this quokka is about to go down for its afternoon nap, but we came all this way. Gotta get that selfie. I don't think I've ever held so many cameras at once. We're gonna get that selfie. All right, let's go, guys. Hey. Hey. We found it nibbling on this branch. There you go. Yum. All right. We're gonna let the quokka get a little more comfortable, then I'm going in. That looks good. I'm hungry too. Hungry for a selfie. All right. Look at you. It's you. It's you. Dang it. All right. We spooked the quokka. That's not what we needed. All right, guys, we're so close. Gosh, our ferry's coming up soon. We gotta get out of here. Just when it started to look like the quokkas of Rottnest Island might be too shy for this selfie mission, something unbelievable happened. Oh, we have more quokkas. I'm gonna have to leave these cameras behind. Go in with the phone. I'm only gonna get one more shot. Hi. Here. Oh my goodness, this is it. We just hit the quokka mother lode. This is what appears to be two parents and a little baby Joey. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna try to get my selfie before I lose my chance. There it is. Hey buddy, smile for the camera. Hey. Got it. All right, that was it. We got our selfie with the quokka. Let me check it. Let me check it. Hang on. Are you kidding me? Guys, we nailed it.
Few places on our planet are as alive as the country of Ecuador. From its towering cloud forests down to the Amazon basin, and all the way out to the islands of the Galapagos. This country stands as a pillar of hope for the entire natural world. And as part of the Non-Fungible Planet campaign to celebrate Earth Day, YouTube is sponsoring this video for an expedition into this pristine environment where we will get up close with some of its most magnificent and unusual wildlife. Joining us on this adventure will be Dr. Lena Valencia, a renowned conservation scientist and wildlife expert. Lena has spent years conducting field research throughout Latin America on many animal species, ranging from primates all the way down to amphibians. Lena knows this environment well, and with any luck, together, we will uncover brand new species never before seen on video. After crossing the ridges of the Andes and navigating down the slopes of the Amazon, we set out on foot to venture deep into the heart of the rainforest. Right away, I was struck by the immense beauty and diversity of this place. But right about the same time, we were also struck with the challenges in front of us. We trekked miles through the jungle, crossing rivers and braving rainstorms and mud to get to the edge of the primary forest. Here we waited for darkness, because while some creatures do make themselves present by day, the best and most interesting only roam under the cover of night.
During the day, there are diurnal animals. That means daytime wildlife, but the best time to find all the cool creatures that call this rainforest home is at night.
Well, you cannot come to the Amazon and not go night herping.
Night herping, what is night herping?
So we're gonna turn our headlamps on and then we're gonna start walking through the forest to discover all the cool creatures that we're gonna see tonight. Frogs, snakes, really cool insects.
Awesome. Well, I know I'm excited. This is our first trip to Ecuador for Brave Wilderness. You've been here a few times, so yeah. I'm gonna let you lead the way. Let's turn our flashlights on and head off into the rainforest. What the? Guys! Holy cow! Look at the size of that katydid. That's the biggest one I have ever seen, Lena. It is strong. It is like taking all my finger strength just to hold on to it. Look at those legs kick away. Now, I would attempt to let it rest on my hand if it weren't for those massive mandibles in the front. It will absolutely slice your skin open like a razor-sharp knife. Make no mistake about it, these katydids are fierce. And if you've seen all the leaves around here that have holes in them, see all these holes? That's due to these creatures just munching away, eating the plant leaves, hole by hole, leaf by leaf. Wow.
With over 6,400 species, katydid come in a variety of shapes and sizes. And while they are called the longhorn grasshopper, they are actually more closely related to crickets, including this giant leaf katydid.
And you can see the camouflage. Here, let's hold it up to a leaf right here. Look at how well it blends in with the leaves here. Absolutely superior camouflage. I mean, Lena, that's a leaf.
It's like it has even the veins that a leaf will normally have.
Yeah, so it is so incredibly strong for an insect. Look at it, just ripping holes in the leaf as we're trying to take it off. Look at the abdomen pulsate underneath there. And this can fly. You wanna hold it, Lena?
No, that's fine.
Okay, well, let's get a couple more shots and then we're gonna put this monstrous katydid right back on the leaf which I found it. Wow.
As exciting as it is to explore these environments, there are many potential hazards, like venomous snakes lurking on the ground and spiny plants all the way up to the canopy. So proceeding with extreme caution is a must.
All right, let's get the cameras in close. You see this? Lena just spotted this stick insect and it is super spiky. Here you go, Lena. Oh man, that is so cool.
Can you see all the spikes?
Oh yeah. It's almost like a stick insect version of the thorny devil that we saw in Australia. Besides its incredible appearance, I'm already amazed by its 3 unique defense mechanisms. The first one's pretty obvious, stick insect, master of camouflage. Defense mechanism number 2. Lena, why don't you tell us how spiky this stick insect is?
Pretty spiky over here.
That's right, I'm gonna try it. Ah, yeah. If you were to try to forcefully grab it, you would get a handful of spines and it would not feel good. Let's move on to the 3rd defense mechanism. Look at how much that rear abdomen looks like the head of a snake, almost like a dragon.
Look how it curls.
Almost like a scorpion. That is a false head and is another defense mechanism, so a would-be predator would actually go after the wrong side of the insect, giving it one last chance of escape.
More than 3,000 species of stick insect inhabit our planet, and to add a 4th defense to its arsenal, this spiny stick insect actually has the ability to produce a noxious odor that is impossible to ignore.
You guys can't smell it, but
Yeah.
there's a very strong smell.
Yeah, it smells almost like bug spray. I think that's the best way I could describe it. A very unique smell, not a smell I've ever encountered before. Wow, you never know what you're gonna see when you come out night herping in Ecuador, but I certainly never in my wildest dreams expected a creature like this. All right, Lena, great spot. Why don't you do the honors and put this one back on its leaf? Oh man, that's so cool.
Put it back. Oh, look, there's a monkey tree frog here.
Oh yeah.
Can you
Wow.
see it? It blends so well with the leaf. Yeah, they're called monkey tree frog because right now they're not moving, but when they move, they look like a monkey moving
Okay.
through the forest.
Are they nocturnal?
Yeah, they're nocturnal, and right now you think it's sleeping, but it's not. It's actually because it senses our presence, so they get still, and they're like that defensive mechanism. And if I was to grab it, like they would like curl into and play dead, and that's how they defend from predators.
Wow. Yeah, you can actually see, even since we walked up here, it's gotten a lot darker.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any way to show everyone what this defense
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard about, I've actually never seen one of these.
So can you see how it's crawling? That's like a defense mechanism when it's disturbed.
Wow.
Do you see? When it was in the tree, it was like not as curled as it is right now.
So it's plain possum.
Mm-hmm, it's playing dead.
Yeah.
And actually, some of these frogs, when you touch them, they change color and release some toxins.
Oh, really?
As well. That if they're like, they won't be poisonous in my hand, but if like I put it on my eye, I will be struggling.
After we placed the frog back on its leaf, we spotted another one on a nearby branch. So here's a much livelier perspective.
Nice little leaf frog. Nice job, Lena, good spot. All right, let's keep moving.
Among the maze of vines and other vegetation, we search slowly and carefully because many things in this jungle are not as obvious as they might appear.
Whoa, what is this? Is that a toad?
Yeah, that's actually a leaf toad. Can you tell why?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. See if I can pick it up right on its leaf.
Look how it camouflages so well with the leaf.
Yeah, you can definitely make out the parotid glands and see the bumps all over the surface of the skin. Definitely a toad. I'm speechless. This is an unbelievable find. Have you seen one of these before, Lena?
I've seen leaf toads before, but not particularly this one.
I'm in awe.
Look at how beautiful the eye is.
While many species of amphibians utilize superior camouflage here in Ecuador, some of them are actually very toxic and display brilliant colorations, as is seen in poison dart frogs and the world's rarest and most colorful jewel of the rainforest, the harlequin toad.
Hi. Thanks for hanging out with us. And, you know, I noticed that a lot of species out here in Latin America, they're not really flighty. They do rely on their defense mechanisms. For better or for worse, that's what they're going with.
Yep. Not afraid of you because he will attack.
So there you have it. That is one super camouflaged but cool amphibian. And Lena, I think this is a great way to call it a wrap here of our exploration of Ecuador. Thank you so much for having
You're
us.
most welcome.
You've shown us so many cool animals. I hope everybody at home has appreciated this look into this beautiful ecosystem. I'm Mark Vins.
I'm Lina Valencia.
Be brave.
Be wild.
We'll see ya on the next adventure. All right, ready to go back out? See you later.
We'd like to extend a special thank you to Dr. Lina Valencia and NGOs like Rewild.org, who make the conservation and sustainability of places like this their primary mission. And thank you again to YouTube for making this adventure possible and sponsoring this exciting exploration to celebrate the beauty and wonder of our planet. Exploring Ecuador was an absolute dream come true.
There's the crash site. All the metal is very sharp here. We found the wreckage of the C-54 headed to Area 51. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mark Vins, and this is about to be our most ambitious adventures with me yet. Tomorrow, we're gonna hike to the peak of that mountain behind us to find what's left of this aircraft. And get this, that airplane, it was headed to Area 51. All right, here we go. Mount Charleston Peak, 8.3 miles ahead of us. This is going to be one of the most extreme adventures we've ever done on Brave Wilderness. This crash site is just 50 feet from the summit. I hopefully find the remains of the flight that faithfully crashed that November day back in 1955.
While the journey ahead would be an extreme feat of endurance, my mind was fixated on what we might find at the crash site, or if we would even find the wreckage at all. To get back down before dark, we wouldn't have much time at the summit, nor did we bring the gear required for an overnight expedition. Our awareness of this time crunch was great fuel to continue the march toward the top. However, what would we find when we got there? This was a plane headed to Area 51 after all. Were there secret documents left behind? Spy plane devices? Parts from an alien spacecraft? Literally anything was possible. But first, we had to get there.
Look at that right there. That is snowpack left from the winter season. That's how high in elevation we're headed today. This altitude has snow almost half of the year, and as this is melting away, we're seeing the last bits of what's left. A little bit of a false summit here. Looks like we've reached the top of the first leg. Now we've got to cover some real distance in miles. Here's a sign. Let's see what it says. Griffith Peak Trail takes you to the top right there. You can see the summit. But we're headed to Charleston Peak, which is that way. Still a long way to go for us. It's not even a halfway point. Okay, we made it to checkpoint number 3. Up the switchbacks, over the saddle. Now this is the grassy knoll, and we're about to enter the burnt forest. And once we hit this tree line, I'll tell you why it got that name. Oh yeah, look at that. You can definitely see the burnt forest embodied by this tree. It's absolutely charred on the inside. And in 2013, this entire mountainside was leveled by a 28,000 acre wildfire. And this is the last checkpoint on our map before we make our way to the summit at Mount Charleston, the burnt forest. And it's a very ominous checkpoint, if I don't mind saying so. I mean, we're looking for a plane crash that was actually coming in. If you just point your camera over there, that's the valley, and beyond that's California. The flight was leaving from Burbank, California on its way to Area 51, got stuck in some bad weather, and because of the secrecy of this mission, the plane was actually flying underneath the radar. And unfortunately missed clearing the peak of Mount Charleston by 50 feet. The velocity that it impacted with scattered the aircraft all over the mountainside. So with any luck today, we will find the remnants of that infamous plane crash. Oh, there it is, the summit of Mount Charleston. I can actually see in the distance there's a flag marking the top. And there's a trail. Hang on a second. I see something up there. Corey, I'm gonna get out my binoculars. Oh yeah, 100% the crash site. I've got eyes on the wreckage. We did it. We found the wreckage of the C-54 headed to Area 51. I'd say we're probably half mile or less away. Let's go get it. Whoa, you rolling? First piece of aircraft. Yes, that is 100% a piece of an aircraft. I'm just shocked. I did not expect to see a piece of this plane that far away from the crash site that we saw from our binoculars. You can see that this is some kind of mechanical piece. There's a pipe. I don't know what part this is, but you can see that there's a serial number there. There used to be some kind of part number, but that's worn away. I mean, it is 65 years old, so you'd expect it to rode quite a bit. About a half a mile away from the crash site. It must have hit full speed. All right, let's keep moving. There it is. There's the crash site. Let's go. Okay, I got my energy back. We found the plane. That's the main wreckage site. Oh man, there it is. This must be part of the comms. The communication system would have wires like this. You can see them all. Almost looks like a spool of yarn. Okay, hopefully this will get us out of the wind. This altitude is making it really hard. It's cold, it's windy, and we're exhausted. A little less windy. Oh wow, that's a piece of an engine. That's a piece of an engine for sure. We found the main piece of wreckage, but I can tell you, just at a quick glance, there's debris scattered all over this mountain. You can see more of the fuselage down there. We might carefully try to go down there in a minute. But first, let's inspect what's right before us. And honestly, folks, I'm looking for anything recognizable. Like, I can tell that a piece like this is from the fuselage. It looks like the exterior of the plane. Yeah, there's some more axle looking. I mean, that to me looks like a landing gear. Let's go inspect that. Be careful. This stuff is really sharp and really trip hazardous. Yeah. So you can see the hydraulic here. And you can see this had a manual release. This is a lever. I'm not an expert. If there's any aeronautical experts watching this, tell us what this is. I believe this is a piece of the landing gear. Let's move down here. There's a huge piece of the fuselage. All right, this is kind of a little bit dangerous. This mountainside is very crumbly, and all the metal is very sharp here, so I don't want to grab onto the wrong piece. I go home with a nasty cut. I definitely don't recommend anybody go off trail, but I'm experienced in hiking and taking the precautions necessary to do this. This is the biggest piece of the plane that's out here right now. At least the biggest piece that we found. I'm sure there are other pieces spread throughout this entire range, but any further down the hill, it gets super unsafe. In fact, I highly recommend if you ever come to the site, you don't come down this far, you stay on the trail. Let's tuck in right here so we can get out of the wind. I'll talk to you for a second to tell you a little bit more about what you're seeing. There's a few reasons why this aircraft is in the condition that it is. One is obvious, there was a crash. The second reason is, about a year after the crash, the Air Force came up here and detonated this plane with dynamite, blew it up to smithereens. And that's because of the secret nature of the mission. They were headed to Area 51 to work on the project, none other than the U-2 spy plane used in the Cold War. Very, very famous aircraft, very critical for US intelligence in the Cold War. And they couldn't risk any of those parts being confiscated or getting into enemy hands. So they came up here and detonated what was left. And that's the real reason why you see so much of the rubble around us right now. Back in 1955, right after the crash, the fuselage, the rear of the plane, we'll show you a picture, was largely intact. Coming from Burbank, the airplane, as you can see, we're almost to the summit. The summit's right there. It almost made it. We're talking 50, at most 100 feet to clear the ridge. And it's very unfortunate because this is the tallest point in the whole area. So they nearly made it. And Area 51 at Groom Lake is just about an hour and a half north of here, drive-wise. So they were very close by plane. I'm overwhelmed right now with a lot of emotions. 14 lives were lost in this crash. And because of the secrecy of the mission, their families weren't even notified for 4 decades later. I can only imagine what they went through, not only losing their loved ones, but not knowing how and not knowing why. Definitely a lot of admiration for the work that they were doing, protecting the freedoms of the United States, keeping us safe. A very unfortunate circumstance that took place here back in 1955, and a very interesting piece of history, an absolutely amazing adventure. I do ask, if you ever come up here to see this wreckage, that you leave it be, leave it intact. This is a historical site out of respect for those who were affected by the crash. Thank you all for joining us on this incredible expedition, piece of history, and probably the most intense Brave Wilderness video that I've ever been part of.
In the rainforest of Costa Rica lives a ghost. One that we have been chasing for many years. Yet, it has eluded us time and again. But tonight, that's all about to change.
Hear that? Oh, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Hey everybody, I'm Mark Vins, and welcome back to another special adventure brought to you by B&H Photo. Tonight, we are going out in the jungle looking for a ghost. No, not a paranormal ghost, a living ghost, one that we will actually find if we can locate its habitat. This animal loves moving water, so in order to find out where we need to hike tonight, we need to use the light of day and our drone to see where the stream systems exist on this property. First things first, before we can fly the drone, we've got to set it up. And today, we are flying the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. This is a really awesome drone, but for us today, it's more of a reconnaissance tool so we can see the area that we're going to be adventuring in tonight. And liftoff. All right, we are up in the sky. Oh man. You know what? There's like all kinds of clouds coming in right now. This actually looks gorgeous. Check that out. So glass frogs, an arboreal frog that lives up off the ground, love river systems because that's where they lay their eggs and develop their tadpoles. Now, if we can locate water, there's a pretty good chance that we could put ourselves there and listen for the calls of the glass frog and then locate the ghost glass frog. Okay, I'm gonna fly due east and we wanna mark the ridges and the approximate distance to get to these streams and rivers and hopefully get eyes on one of the streams that's closest to us as a starting point. And we want to maybe sketch the shape and some distinct features to help us get there.
Okay.
So you see the ridge right in front of us, we'll call that Ridge 1. And there's definitely a secondary ridge over top of it.
Okay.
And this is the great part about scouting with the drone. You really can see the topography in an area like Costa Rica, which is very mountainous and hilly and just confusing at night. I mean, right, Mario, you can easily get turned around out there in the jungle, but by having a map at our aid, it's going to make tonight's expedition that much more efficient. This vegetation is dense. Even from the sky, it is difficult to see anything in those trees. That's water. Got it. So you see the way that curves around? So over Ridge 1, and then on the downside of Ridge 2, the stream comes from the south and goes just north and then bends back west.
Yep.
And then you see that cluster of rocks?
Yep. I think that could be our kind of landmark, maybe our entryway.
Based on the fact that that was over 2,500 meters of flight, we're gonna estimate to get down here because of the terrain up and down, that's gonna be about another 2 kilometers.
Okay.
3 kilometers total in hiking tonight. Okay. And then you have a compass on your watch, which will really come in handy.
Yep. So we've got the map. We know where the stream is at. All we got to do is wait until it gets dark. And of course, bring that drone back.
I hear it. There it is, yeah. So we did a manned launch and right now we're going to do a catch landing. This is not for a novice drone pilot. Gotcha. All right. Well, that's a wrap on recon. Let's head back and wait for darkness. As you can see, night has descended upon us, and it's time to search the rainforest for the ghost glass frog. Let's turn our headlamps on and hit the trail. I'm scanning around, I'm listening. I do hear something coming from over here. I think I hear a call. Hear that? It's coming from right up here. Let's check this out. Oh, yep, right there. Look at that. Our first glass frog, cool. Now, first things first, I'm just gonna leave it alone for a second so I get my hands wet. I don't wanna handle a frog with dry hands. Let me see if I can get this frog off its perch. Come here, little guy. Perfect. There we go. Okay. This is not the Elix or the ghost glass frog, but it's actually one of the smallest species of glass frog here in Costa Rica, and it's the Spinosa glass frog, otherwise known as the dwarf glass frog. One of the first distinct characteristics you will notice about the glass frog is, besides being that really cool translucent green, is their eyes are actually set forward as opposed to the side like we'd see in a red-eye leaf frog or some of the other frogs that we have here in Costa Rica. And that forward set eye pattern is what gives them that really cool Kermit the Frog look that they're so famous for. I think we've had it off its leaf for long enough. Let's put it back and keep searching. We've got a long night ahead of us if we're gonna find that ghost. We've gone about 1 kilometer east so far, and we know our final destination, or the water source that we're looking for, is about 3 kilometers east. Looks like we need to go a little northeast. Mario, you seeing that?
Yep, according to my compass on my watch, yeah, if we go in this direction, it'll be kind of slightly northeast, and then I think we'll get on that eastern trail as well.
It's funny, when you first step foot off trail, there's always this sensation that comes over you. It's just like a heightened awareness. Walking on the trail feels safe. Walking off the trail feels hazardous just by nature. So you tend to move a little bit more deliberately, and you see more. It's really an awesome thing to get off trail. You've got a little bit of groundwater starting here. That means the bigger stream is definitely nearby. Let's head on here and get to the start of the stream.
Dude, fertilance.
Where?
Huge.
Let me see.
Holy smokes. Look at his head.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Whew. That is a formidable snake right there. Good spot, Mario. Do you want the snake hook?
No, I don't think we're gonna mess with it. Just gonna get a nice shot of it. So the fertilance relies on its cryptic coloration to blend into the environment. And an animal in this position could stay in wait for hours without moving a single muscle. The name of the game is waiting when you are an ambush predator. And a snake like this has all the time in the world to wait for an unsuspecting prey item.
That is exactly why you have to watch every single step you take out here, because your next step could be on something like that fer-de-lance, and that'd be a very bad day for us. It looks like it's flattening out a little bit, which is good news for us. We can really start looking. I just heard a glass frog, guys. Up this way. It's a very quick chirp. It's like a... Hear that? Oh, guys, we got one. Yes! Oh man, I knew I heard one. All right, here we go. Hands wet. Gonna gently take it off the leaf. I am so excited to show you this frog, and you're going to see why we came all this way to show you the ghost of the rainforest, the ghost glass frog. How cool are those eyes? So cryptic and so unique. In my opinion, this frog has the coolest eyes in all of frogs in Central and South America. We're gonna break out the lights, we're gonna break out the macro lens, and we're gonna bring you in close so you can get a good look at why this frog is so special. Mario, you got that macro lens ready to go?
Yep, got the lens and the EOS R on the tripod.
And I've got the ghost glass frog. Oh, looking right at you. I think it sees its reflection in your lens there and is like, who's that? That looks like me.
Hey, buddy.
Let me help you there, Mario.
Okay, back it up just a little bit, right there.
Trying to remain as still as I possibly can for Mario's shot right now so everyone at home can see those magnificent eyes. They look cool?
Yeah, They're kind of reticulated. So they got this pattern on them. I'm gonna pause there. Let's try to get a different angle on him.
Okay. Just carefully nudge it this
How's
way.
it doing? Is it doing good?
Oh my goodness,
that's good.
That's cool.
Let's get
right
that.
there.
Let's get its little pads.
Yeah.
So this species does not have a completely transparent ventrum. However, I could see a little bit of the white sheath of intestinal tract inside of its stomach. And I could actually see like the beating of the heart.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mario, because a lot of people think that all glass frogs have a completely transparent stomach, and that is not true. In fact, it is more of the exception than the rule when that does occur. Now, if you have seen our previous glass frog episode, that was a species with a completely clear ventral side where you could actually see the heart beating and the blood flowing through the frog, which was pretty amazing. Another cool thing about the ghost glass frog, it is actually the largest species of glass frog in Costa Rica. So kind of fitting that we started tonight with the dwarf glass frog, or the Spinosa, which is the smallest, and we land on the ghost glass frog, which is the biggest, but still pretty small. It's winking at you. I think he just complimented you, Mario. He's like, wink, that's a great shot. Well, I hope you see now why it was worth the effort to come all the way down here to find the ghost of the rainforest, the ghost glass frog.
Hostile forces of nature. The famous words of Darwin describe the Galapagos perfectly, and that's exactly what we're up against. Filming marine iguanas in action means we will need to scuba dive through shark-filled waters, avoid ripping ocean currents, and brave relentless tidal surges that will throw us around like rag dolls. All right, so as we make our way to the intertidal zone, you can begin to see what we're going to contend with. As a scuba diver, if we get caught in these breakers, it could be game over, but it's what it's gonna take if we wanna get up close to those iconic marine iguanas. All right, we have to dive deep quickly to avoid the current. All divers on today's mission are carrying emergency GPS beacons in case one of us gets pulled out to sea. It's critical we remain close together as we make our way toward the iguana feeding grounds. Visibility will change frequently, and there will be many twists and turns to navigate. The water here is very cold, only 68 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also high in nutrients, which attracts more than just iguanas. The Galapagos has one of the most biodiverse marine systems on the planet, making it a critical front line of conservation. But there's no time to waste. We need to save as much air as possible to film the iguanas. The surge will only get stronger the shallower we go. It's almost like the ocean is breathing. Push, calm, pull, push, calm, pull. This is the most turbulent water I have ever experienced, and it's making it hard to stay submerged. But surfacing now could roll us into the breaking waves, which would be very dangerous and potentially a life-threatening scenario. Only 50 yards from shore, this is where we need to be. And there it is, our first iguana. What you are looking at is one of the most specialized lizards on the planet, and the only one that spends time in the ocean. The marine iguana. If there were ever a living version of Godzilla, this is it. In fact, one of the common names for them on San Cristobal Island is the Godzilla iguana. Check out that scientific name. It turns out Godzilla is now a real animal. Filming these iguanas is going to be a real test. Luckily, the rocks down here are only covered in plants, so unlike coral, it's okay for us to carefully hold on with our gloves. But the surge is intense, making it nearly impossible to hold on when it rips through.
Periods of calm will be our only chance to get close to the iguanas. But make no mistake, the surge will return. Luckily, the iguanas seem laser focused on feeding, almost ignoring our presence. Clearly, every bite counts when you're braving these conditions. Marine iguanas are herbivores that have adapted many specializations to help them survive at sea for the sole purpose of finding food. The rocks here are covered in a leafy marine salad that includes red and green algae, a favorite of the marine iguana, and one of the only reliable food sources for them in the Galapagos. To get it, they have to sometimes dive 60 feet and hold their breath for up to 30 minutes. They use their hooked, talon-like claws to grip onto the rocks, while their shortened snout allows them to get their teeth closer and into tight spaces to chomp away at the algae. So their Godzilla-like appearance does serve a survival purpose. Marine iguanas have also developed flattened tails that are muscular and help them swim through this hazardous environment. And as much as they need their swimming ability to dive into the ocean, it's the getting back to land when it really comes into play. Unlike us, the iguanas are able to swim right into the breakers and body surf their way back to land. Their ability to navigate the bone-crushing waves is unbelievable. But of course, they saved their final and most impressive adaptation for the shore. Because these iguanas feed on plants full of salt water, they have remarkably evolved glands that absorb the salt to be ejected by way of snot rockets, also called wigs. And while it seems gross, it's very efficient and just another unlikely demonstration of how these iguanas have solved the many problems to exist here in the Galapagos. Contrary to their name, marine iguanas spend most of their lives on land. The shores of Fernandina can be stacked with hundreds of basking lizards, and while only adult iguanas dive for food, you can spot subadults and juveniles foraging in the tide pools or just at the water's edge. Large male iguanas are very territorial and can be seen sparring or using head bobs to push off competing males from the rest of the breeding population. Before they branched off to explore the waters of the intertidal zone, marine iguanas started as a land-based species, only driven below the ocean surface due to what must have been an extreme lack of food. In fact, in the Galapagos today, there are 3 distinct species of iguana that are all descendants of a common land ancestor, one of which is the rarest lizard on the planet and the one that brought us to the Galapagos in the first place. The interconnection between land and sea is unmistakable in the Galapagos, and as an ambassador for Rewild.org, we are working together with the Galapagos National Park to ensure this marine reserve is expanded and remains protected for generations to come. There is no better example to the importance of these two worlds than the marine iguana, which is unique to the Galapagos and the only lizard on Earth that has adapted for life in the ocean. The fact they have evolved to survive these hostile forces of nature is truly incredible.
That was such a fun dive.
Woo! That was the coolest scuba diving I've ever done in my entire life. Took everything we had to stay in position and to roll with the surge back and forth. It was surreal. It was like living inside the cover of a National Geographic magazine. It's time to go diving. Today we are on the hunt for the batfish, one of the most bizarre creatures in the ocean. This fish is so strange, you'll hardly believe it's a fish at all. To find one, we will dive under Florida's famous Blue Heron Bridge and search through piles of wreckage. This fish is going to be hiding from us, so spotting one will be a challenge. On top of that, our time is extremely limited. We only have around 50 minutes of air in the tank, and we need to complete the mission before the strong currents return with the tide and make diving here impossible. There's no time to waste. Let's get searching. To find the batfish, we will need to get close to the bottom and search carefully. They are masters of disguise and are usually hidden so well you can easily miss them even if you're looking directly at it. Do you see all of those spiky red worms? Those are painful to touch and are called fireworms. Fireworms are a real danger for any diver. Their needle-like spines are covered in a strong toxin that can sting and cause horrible pain. Underwater, it's an even bigger risk because the pain can cause panic attacks and difficulty breathing. If I were to get stung right now, it could be an emergency situation. Clearly they are everywhere, so touching anything without looking first is a terrible idea. Okay, that looks like a good place for a batfish to hide. Let's search over there. And I can already feel the current starting to come back, making it harder to swim forward. Because of the tides, there are only 2 small windows of time every day to even try to search for batfish. But because finding one is so rare, they are always the #1 target of anyone who dives here. Look, there's something hiding under that rock. It's a spotted moray eel. While most non-divers worry about sharks, actually it's these animals that are far more common and likely to attack. All right, let's give this guy some space and keep searching for the batfish. Oh, check this out. That is an arrowhead crab. They are super strange and worth a closer look. At first glance, you might mistake the crab for a spider from outer space, but they are actually related to normal crabs. If we zoom in, we can see there are 2 blue pinchers near the front of its body. Oh, and look, there's a yellow spotted stingray. These rays can be extremely hard to spot because they are small and spend most of their lives buried beneath the sand. Like other stingrays, they have a razor-sharp barb along their tail and will sting if threatened. And just because we can see one doesn't mean there aren't others hiding around. Stingrays could be hidden anywhere down here and is yet another reason we need to be careful anytime we touch the sand. Okay, that's a quarter tank gone. But I feel like our luck is starting to pick up. Spotting all these other creatures is a great sign. The batfish could be close by. Oh, take a look at this spike ball. Sometimes they're confused for pufferfish because these burrfish are very similar looking. Yes, those spikes are super sharp and is why they don't have many predators down here. Even for the toughest fish, you don't want a mouthful of spines like that. The tide is coming back faster than I thought it would, and it's really hard to hold the camera steady. But I'm seeing something bright. Let's close in on those pillars. Oh wow, that is a giant yellow seahorse and a super rare find. I didn't even know we could find these here. If you look carefully, you can see it's covered in small black dots. And to handle these strong currents, seahorses use their tails to anchor on nearly anything they can grab onto, since they aren't very good swimmers. But that has to be the most colorful seahorse I've ever seen. Very cool, but we need to move on. Visibility is starting to get worse and time is really running out. There's definitely a lot of life down here, but still no signs of the batfish. Air supply is just above 40%. We really need to hurry up. Okay, this is the perfect habitat. Let's search this area well. Batfish are masters of camouflage. Still seeing fireworms everywhere. Just can't get away from them. All right, no luck in that pile. These sandy bottoms are probably our best bet with the remaining air. While it is common to find them tucked in debris, you can also see batfish in areas like this. Seeing something up near that wreck. Definitely some activity in the debris around it. Jeez, this wreck is absolutely covered in fireworms too. But what do we have here? Oh, that is a pair of spiny lobsters and a big sea urchin behind them. And right next to them is another arrowhead crab. Still no batfish. All right, it's time to get back on track. We have about 20 minutes left before I run out of air. The search is not over. Seeing something now lurking behind that piece of rubble there. See it 4 meters away? Let's check it out. It's a sea robin, another bottom-dwelling fish that can actually walk. Truthfully, this is about as close as you can get to a batfish without actually being one. We need to be careful here. I don't want to scare it away too soon. Sea robins are fast when they want to be. Approaching now. Okay, this one is a northern sea robin and is right next to a bandtail puffer. He is watching me. All right, so their most unusual feature has to be their ability to walk on those spines, which are nothing more than modified fins, but they definitely look like legs. This fish could have easily been named the spiderfish. And as you can see, they use their legs really well to walk around so they can scavenge for food. Okay, he's thinking of fleeing now, and this is a good time to see the display of those wing-like fins. And there he goes, flying across the seafloor. When they deploy their fins, it allows them to move quickly for short periods, and they can glide along the seafloor, almost like the wings of a bird. Let's give this guy some space. We are still on the hunt for the batfish, and we're not giving up yet. All right, I'm seeing something there. Bingo! Target spotted. That is a batfish. Zoom in. All right, approaching. Let's see how close we can get. This is a polka dot batfish, a slow swimmer that can also walk along the seafloor using its two stubby fins as feet. I'm going to try to get even closer to show you how it blends in with its surroundings. They usually remain still to look like debris on the seafloor, which helps them ambush their prey when it swims too close. In this case, it's helping us get a lot closer with the camera. Whoa, here he comes, making a fast break. Let's try to follow and hopefully he'll stop again. This might be my only shot to see one of these. Okay, now for something really weird. I'm going to attempt to show off its gills, which are actually located behind its armpits. This might be a little tricky. There they are. The batfish gills are oddly located behind their fins, which helps them remain still and camouflaged. I have just above 15% air remaining, and every breath counts. Especially when you found one of the rarest animals down here and have more to see. You can really get a good look at its strange shape from this overhead shot. Check out that triangle body. Okay, here we go, nice and calm now. Game on, let's try to look for the most famous attribute of the batfish, their lure. Since they're a member of the anglerfish family, they are equipped with a built-in fishing rod just above their mouth that retracts in and out. Yes, it actually is a fishing pole that moves out of their face, much like a transformer. They use this lure to attract small fish and other animals that they can gobble up. I won't be able to hang on much longer until we have to surface. Come on. One time. Oh! There it is. Did you see that? Let's play that back. What? It actually has a lure on the end of the rod that it flings out as well. I didn't even know that it could do that. Holy cow. I cannot believe how much it can transform its face like that. That is absolutely amazing and cooler than I could have ever imagined. In this video, we are out searching the rainforest at night in Western Borneo. This location is known for having some of the most unique animals on the planet. And our goal for tonight is to locate as many of them as possible to get up close to the cameras. Let's get searching. If you're out looking for creatures anywhere, the best time to do it is at night. Can you see the blue eyes? All right, we've got a blue-eyed angle-headed lizard. It's a type of dragon, but you can see it's got some super eccentric details. It's almost like it has a wacky hairdo with those spines up and down the back, but it's sleeping right there on that limb. We're just gonna leave it alone. It's a little too high up anyway. Let's go. When you're out night herping, best tool you can have, headlamp. Headlamp or flashlight. The main purpose of using these lights is to illuminate the forest, but also really to get that eye shine popping off the eyes of all the nocturnal creatures that live out here in this jungle. Oh, we got something right here. Let's see if I can get it to climb onto my hand. Another strange creature of the night. We have a spiny stick insect here. This is just a juvenile. It's not a very big one. And look how it just remains coolly still. Thinks it's camouflaged on a branch. But you're not. I see you. Wow, just like pinch me with its feet. Ah! Spiny. Ah! Spike me with those sharp legs. It's got spines all up and down the legs too. All right, we've had a good look. Let's put this spiky stick back on the plant. All right, guys. One of our spotters out here hiking with us tonight just signaled that they saw something on. What do we got? Oh, perfect. Yes. This is awesome. Okay, guys, it's staying put. This is great. I can probably just get right next to it. All right. Look at the size of this amphibian. You guys can get closer. As long as I don't touch it, it's gonna stay right there. Can you guys see without my light?
Oh, perfectly.
Okay, look at how big that leaf frog is. Now this is a Wallace's flying frog. Its feet and the webs on them are so big and wide that it can actually fly through the canopy as a glider. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to pick it up. You guys ready?
We're ready, Mark.
Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Okay. Check that out. How cool is that frog? Let me see if I can get it to just crawl on me. You seeing that?
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Get it back. Gotcha. Don't worry, buddy. We just want to see how cool you are. Don't worry. I'm going to put you right back on your stick. The pads on the feet, in case you're wondering, are super sticky. It feels like sap on the bottom of its feet. Super tacky, and that is going to be good for climbing all of the wet leaves and sticks out here in this rainforest. But of course, in addition to climbing, this frog can glide. The Wallace's flying frog has such large hands and back feet pads that it can soar through the canopy. Now that is one really cool leaf frog, and that's coming from someone who's seen a lot of frogs. The Wallace's flying frog here in Borneo. Let's put it back on its branch and keep searching for other creatures of the night. Too cool. All right, so sometimes you can find mammals. There's like tarsiers that live out here. There's all kinds of cool, unique stuff. And of course, this being our first major trip to Borneo, everything we find is brand new. Oh, got something on this branch. Oh my gosh, guys, come look at this. You guys have enough light to see what this is? Okay, what we have here, guys, is a dead leaf mantis. What you're looking at right there is actually a praying mantis that looks almost identical to a leaf. But let me see if I can get it to climb up on my fingers. Oh yeah. Now you can see it. Look, oh, it's a hopper. I would not expect a mantis like this to fly, although I'm sure it has tiny wings. It's definitely well adapted to look just like a leaf. Now there are actually over 2,400 different species of mantis on the planet, but this one has to be the coolest I've ever seen. Now you can really see that it's a mantis. Before, when it was on the leaf, it was inverted and you couldn't see the arms, perfectly camouflaging it as a dead leaf hanging off that plant. But as much as it looks like a leaf, it is not dead. It is very alive, and make no mistake, this is a mantis. It is an assassin. It is out here looking for prey, and they are relentless, and they're highly intelligent. You combine that with being excellently camouflaged, and you have a very formidable creature. That is cool. Oh, beautiful. Now this is a fully grown mantis. This is as big as they get. Oh, hello. It's looking right at me. You're not gonna hop on me, are you? We're trying to get the shot. Look that way. Oh. It's going for my pants because it's the same color. I've been spotted. We see you. I mean, you can even see on its back just like the striations of the leaf and like the dead spots. I mean, it has so many little particular details that make it look like a leaf. A truly remarkable adaptation. Andrew, have you ever seen anything like that?
No, that's so well camouflaged. I don't know how you saw it.
Well, I saw it because it's on this bright green leaf, so it wasn't the best spot to hide for this leaf mantis, but you could see if it was down here in the leaf litter how it would just disappear. Actually, let's do that. Let's let it go and put it in the leaves and see how it just disappears. Ready? Or can you just put a few leaves around it? Just like disappears in the leaf litter. And can you imagine if it was dry? Like here's a dry leaf. I mean, look at that. Unbelievable, huh? So cool. All right, I've got to get a picture with this. Gonna get my phone out. Not often you see a mantis as bizarre as that one. You know, I've seen a lot of interesting mantis over the years, but I cannot recall one as cool looking as this. All right, guys, it is the wee hours of the morning here in Western Australia, and we woke up early because we are trying to find one of the world's smallest marsupials, the honey possum. These tiny creatures only live in Western Australia and are rarely ever seen because they are super quick, hopping and bouncing from tree to tree. Now, while they are smaller than a mouse, they are actually related to koalas, kangaroos, and wombats. And if I'm able to catch one, I'm going to show you why this is one of the most impressive and smallest mammals in the entire world. Now these creatures are very agile. In order to have any chance of getting one up close to the cameras, we're going to need to use some technology to aid us. So what we have here is a thermal scope. You can see the scanner here, a live feed on the phone, and it will detect any body heat coming off of these small possums. And if we are able to spot one on the scope, we're then gonna race out of the car and try to get hands-on with this super cool and super tiny marsupial.
Joining us on our possum search is Max Jackson from Australia Wildlife Encounters. If there's anyone who can spot a creature in the outback, it's him.
All right, so we're gonna start our search by looking for plants that flower because these honey possums live on a diet completely made up of flower nectar. So if we find flowers, that's going to be a good indication that there'll be honey possums in the area. This heathland habitat is perfect because typically at all times during the year, there's always going to be something in bloom.
It didn't take long for Max to guide us to a location full of orange banksia flowers, a favorite of the honey possum. Unfortunately, by the time we got there, the day's temperatures rose and the thermal cameras became less and less effective, making it difficult to spot the tiny warm-blooded possums apart from the hot banksia trees. So we decided that although we found our location, we would need to return back the next morning for another try.
That's something.
That, it's on a flower too.
That's a possum.
That's a possum. Look at it, that's totally a possum.
We got it. And you can see the thermal scope is picking up a small creature at the top of this flower. Hopefully that is the honey possum we were after. This is awesome. All right, let's go. Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see him. I definitely see him, man. He's flying around there.
Alright, do you want me to hold, stand back and you see if you can go for a grab?
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on it with this laser.
Okay. Coming down at me? Yeah, I don't see anything. Thought I saw a flash of it when we first walked up, but it's hard to tell. Like, could have just been a branch in the wind.
So I saw him moving down, I kind of lost track of him from there. Oh, hang on, there. That's him, he's moving around, he's at the bottom, he's like, yeah, he's this head level, he's around there somewhere.
Okay. So he's gonna be at the top of this tree. Oh, I got him. I see him. I think he jumped down. Saw him for like a fleeting glimpse. All right. Well, let's keep trying. Yeah, he's like right there. Oh, I see him. I see him. I got eyes on him. Here, take the phone.
Okay, just drop it, it's fine.
Okay, I am looking at it. I am staring right at it. Oh, I just jumped. Yep. Got him. Where is he now? Oh, I see him. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I'm so close. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I missed that. Oh. Ah. All right.
These guys move fast.
They are so incredibly quick. Is it the flower again? There's just too many escape routes for these honey possums to go. I can see them, I get within like an arm's reach, and then they see me and go bing, and just jump to the other branch. And these trees are super dense. Like the leaves are very prickly, the branches are very stiff, so like moving the tree around is really complicated. I almost had him. I'm not joking, we may want to go back and get my tide pool net, because they are so fast. We've got one. Oh, I see two. There's one up high. That one looks like it's really resting easily. Let's go for it. All right, I'm gonna go in for a catch. Yep, okay. Here we go. It's gonna be right here.
Yeah, there somewhere. You're right in front of it.
Should be looking right at it.
Hasn't moved yet.
Oh, I see him. He's up. Oh wait. There's a little bird's nest there.
Ah.
But I think it was one of them because I saw a tail.
He's still there.
Oh wait, I'm looking right at him.
Yep.
I see him. Okay. I'm looking right at him.
Oh, he's moving. He's moving. He's running overhead. Mark?
I heard it. This way?
He's up high, actually. He's on a flat. You should be able to see him. He's there. Come back.
Got him.
Yeah.
Got one. Oh, we got a honey possum, guys. That was awesome. That was awesome. Hi. Oh my goodness. You are the cutest thing I have ever seen. Okay, the sun is coming up. Let's let the light expose the habitat a little bit better, and then we are gonna show you this tiny little creature up close and personal. Oh, guys, look at how small this marsupial is. And yes, I know at first glance, it looks a little bit like a mouse, but in fact, this is a marsupial, namely because of how it rears its young. That when they're, hey buddy, it's okay, it's okay. It's a little nervous, I'm gonna talk a little quieter. So this little honey possum can give birth to 2 to 3 joeys at a time. And when they are born, they are no bigger than a grain of rice, making them the smallest mammal at birth in the world. And then they'll be reared in their mother's pouch for up to 3 months before they venture off to find their own flowers. These little honey possums can drink up to 7 milliliters of nectar in a day. That's the equivalent of a human being drinking 50 liters of soda. Could you imagine? So their metabolism is super fast. They are pretty much always hopped up on a good diet of sugar. Hi, look at that iconic snout, which is developed to help them get at the plant nectar, the flowers in these banksia trees. They are perfectly adapted for their food source. In addition to their slender snout, they also have a very long tongue, which is up to 1/4 length of their entire head. This tongue is covered in, hold on, I gotta get a better grip, sorry guys. We're almost done, we're almost done. We're gonna put you back on your flower, don't worry. Okay, let's see if we can feed our friend here some sugar water. Are you ready? Oh yeah, look at that. Somebody was thirsty. You can see how it uses that little tongue to lap up the nectar. Yum, 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 yum. Oh my gosh, look how long his tongue is. Now their tongue is covered in bristles that helps it extract the nectar out of the flowers. And just like the bees behind us on the flower, these honey possums are extraordinary pollinators. Without them, this environment would certainly be in peril. They are a very important part of the ecosystem here in Western Australia, and they are also super cool. Like many other marsupials, it is prehensile. Do you see how it grips onto my finger there, how it curls up? That prehensile tail can wrap around branches and allows this tiny little marsupial to grip onto flowers and tree limbs with great efficiency, and they can actually hang and support their entire body weight just with their tail. So me gently holding it here is totally fine for this creature. The base of their tail is very strong and can support their entire body. Now, in addition to its prehensile tail, it also has a very interesting hind foot. Similar to a koala bear, it actually has a thumb that hangs out off the foot, 4 fingers, that allows it to really grab onto stems and limbs so we can get up on those flowers. So another distinguishing feature about the honey possum are those tiny little ears, which are quite large for its head. It has an extraordinary sense of hearing, and that's going to help it stay away from predators that would be out here trying to get them as they're feasting on flowers. Anything from a snake to a bird would make a meal out of a honey possum. They do have striping running along their back. The males have a bit more of a prominent stripe down the back, which leads me to believe that this is a male. Sir, thank you for joining us today on Brave Wilderness. Ow, he's trying to nip me a little bit. Luckily, the honey possum really lacks any serious teeth. It has a couple of flat peg-like teeth, but nothing that's gonna give me a serious nip this morning. You are teeny tiny and super adorable. All right, now these creatures are nocturnal. The sun's starting to come up. I think it's time to put our honey possum back on its flower and let it nap for the rest of the afternoon. You were so good. Thanks for hanging out with us. How about a flower? You want a flower? You hungry? So cool. Oh, coming back? Back to me? Back to me? Oh. You gonna go back? Where are you going? Can I offer you a flower? All right, let's put the honey possum back in the bush. Oh. That's it. That's all she wrote. Honey possum scene. Cut.
If you enjoyed that episode, make sure to search for the Brave Wilderness channel on YouTube so you can join me and the crew on our upcoming adventures.